let's keep it civil. So, Karigwe, okay.
I thought no, see, Scar. This guy wanted to ask me something.
Yeah, so I wanted you to wrap up. Yeah, Karigwe, I wanted you to wrap up with Scar. Then after you done, Ikenga can ask his question, and the third person can do that.
I've finished what I wanted to tell Scar. Okay. When you're doing your submission, you can ask me.
Oh boy. So I don't know what happened, guys. The whole network thing just crashed, so I had to start all over again on the live stream. So let me check it out. But you can go ahead and ask Kyle your question. I don't think you have a question for him because he's on your side.
I think he's kind of. I want to say what I didn't ask a question. I wasn't attacking anybody. I was trying. But you can carry on. Carry your question.
All right. So sorry guys. So let me see. I'm trying to put the live stream on. Okay, it's on the Jumbotron, guys. Whoever's interested in being part of the live stream is on the Jumbotron. If what, thanks for the update. I honestly didn't know what happened. My lights just tripped off. I'm not sure if there was a bad connection, but yeah, we're back. We're back again. We lost about 200 people viewing live. I'm sorry, guys. You can jump on it again and let's go. So now that Ikenga has finished, Logic is meant to go next, but he's not here. So let's take Olamide in that order. Olamide.
I was about to come to Karigwe. He asked me a question.
Oh, I thought you did. All right, go ahead.
No, I didn't. Yeah, thank you. It's just like saying when you pay somebody for their skill, you are paying for the person. If the bride price, particularly speaking, is for the woman, why exactly are other things they give to the woman? They give her clothes, they give her a full bag of clothes, they give her jewelry, they give her other certain things for the bride herself. Why are they not returning all of those things? It's attached to the woman herself. If the bride price they are returning signifies the end of the duty of the woman, the fact that this woman is not going to perform this duty for the man anymore, he had to return his bride price to get a replacement for the duty she used to perform for him, not for her as a person. There's no point. Women do not get a price. The price is for brides and not women. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That was quick. Olamide, without wasting time, jump in. Thanks for your patience, by the way.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you. So, two grown adults, like two grown people, want to get married to themselves, and it is actually one person that has to, pay for getting married or probably beg. There's one person that has to show that, I want to get you into my life. The other person doesn't necessarily need to show that I'm getting married to you as well. Okay, it doesn't really make any sense to me. Right from time, I've always been a fan of equality. I know there is not necessarily equality like that, but I believe we are marrying ourselves. I'm not the only person to marry you. So why should I be the one to? Okay, you are going to bring a list and you say they are not buying the woman. Like the first time I joined Jimmy's space, most times I don't join spaces like this, but the first time we're talking about how men maltreat women in the marriage when it comes to house chores and all. After putting all this, I don't blame men sometimes because after paying, ask for ridiculous things like the card, the don't know what to buy card, the other man was talking about, and the financial pressure that they put on men to get married. Then you want the man to be going to the kitchen. Are you joking? You expect the man to. Why won't the man want to have control over the woman? When you some culture, men we have to pay huge amount of money, millions. There's a lot of ridiculous amount of money, and then you want the man to not to have control over you. So how do you want us to bridge that issue? Then many people will want to say, that's how they do in the Bible days. That's how they do in the Bible days. And I'll tell you, in the Bible days, there's culture as well. Some things in the Bible were written in the confinement of the culture. Okay, so it's all culture. It's still tradition. But today we see all those things. The world is evolving, and I'm not even like necessarily trying to say that the bride price should stop, all right? But it doesn't make sense to me. I feel if it's not like transactionary, everything is transactional in Africa. You know, even the mentality of most people in Africa is transactional. Everything has to be true. Even God, you want to make God a transactional God. Everything is just like, even men of God making Christianity like transactional. It doesn't make any sense because everything comes from the poverty mentality mindset, like Integrity was talking about earlier. You know, you have to, because some people will say it's because of the value the woman brings. You have to pay, demand, raise up the daughter. They didn't raise up demand too, or they did not pay on demand. They didn't send demand to school as well. They didn't suffer on demand as well. So why is it that, it is the man has labored, you know, sent her to school, fed her through her life, you have to pay for that? I don't understand. On the other way around, they don't take care of the men too. They don't send them to school as well. So I feel if you want us to do better in marriages, you want people to do better in their marriage, we have to bridge that one-sided whatever. Because these are two grown people, true grown adults. They are matured. Even sometimes in I don't want to say, because they will say you are copying the Western culture. Some people will have been cohabit before they even think of going to marriage. So in the situation where two people have cohabited for like years, they know what they are doing. They are responsible for themselves. I really support most of the things Integrity said. He spoke my mind for real. Like, it's just when you see the list, I've seen people marrying and I see the list, I'll be like, okay, 20 tubers of beer, are they not going to eat it? Are they not going to finish it in one day? How long will that even last? You know, they ask for things and be like, then the man has to be the one to, lie down, beg. I don't know. Should I be begging to get married? For me, it doesn't make any sense for you. I don't think it makes any sense. It has to be mutual. It has to be union between two grown adults. Right? So for real, it's culture though. When Sammy was talking, I didn't really go well with some of the things he was saying. You know, the man has to get money to buy motor, buy these different kind of cows. I'll be like, yeah. So we have utmost power over you if I marry you, that kind of culture. For real. You cannot have a say in my life. You can't have a say. Marriage is culture anyway, so everything just goes down to culture. But when two people are coming together, then I see no reason why the world should just go. Nigeria should just go beyond that mentality. For real, this is 2025. If you don't want our women to be maltreated in their marriages, then some things just need to be adjusted. So that's my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, Olamide. Thank you.
I really enjoy it again. So
Scott, mute your mic. Thank you, Olamide, for the patience, and everyone heard you loud and clear. But before you go, I'm not sure how many people have a question for Olamide. I'm just going to take two questions.
I have a question.
Of course you do. All right, so I'll take you and Ikenga in that order. Go ahead, Scott. Make it snappy.
All right, yeah. There are two questions, Mr. Olamide.
Just one. Just one.
Okay. All right. One. Give me one question.
Go ahead, Scott. Scott, are you there?
He buys the food and he furnishes the kitchen.
All right, Scott, we lost you. Scott. Scott, can you hear me? Hello?
He's getting married.
Scott.
Does he leave his own family?
Scott.
Is he leaving his own family? Does his duties to his own family?
Scott, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but you're breaking. We lost you for a couple of seconds. We did not hear whatever it is you're saying. And I don't want a situation where Olamide will get the question you're asking. So you might want to take that again. We lost you for a couple of seconds. Take it again, please. Scott, are you there? He's clearly having a network problem. Olamide, you can hear me loud and clear, right?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, so I think it's from Scott. All right. Scott, you might want to drop and come back. You're having a terrible network from your side. Meanwhile, Kenga, go ahead while we wait for Scott. You have a question for Olamide, right?
Yeah, can I ask you a question?
Hold on. Ikega, you have a question for Olamide or you don't? Because I saw your hand. All right, go ahead. Right, go ahead.
Olamide, yeah, we can all agree that marriage is between two people who love themselves so much that they want to live together and all of that. But why is it that in the Western world, a man could have maybe into age, made so much money, and when he ends up with a woman within 3 months, they divorce. The woman never attributed or contributed anything to his life, but when they divorce, they go to court, she gets a share of what she never worked for.
Olamide, did you get that?
Yeah, I get the question. From my own knowledge, or from what I know, before you can get equal share of what the man has, you have to be married now. You guys have to be. It's not cohabitation. That one is not cohabitation. That's what I'm saying. In that sense of marriage, they didn't pay any bride price, right? That's why I made that assertion. No bride price was paid. Just correct. So at the end of the day, the woman gets a share of what the man has. Even within 1 week after that marriage, they divorce, and she must get a share. Why is it so? All right. If you are legally married, the belief is that two people are coming together to become one. So what I have is yours, what you have is mine. But most of the times, it is the men that has more. That's why it seems as if it's the men that lose more after divorce. If it is the woman that has, why must the man lose more? Why? I want to understand why. Yeah, because most of the time, it is men that has more. It is men that has more. So wait. You accept that logic that for the fact that man has more, he should lose more. In that sense, are you accepting that logic? Even though I'm not accepting the logic, I believe two are one. You know, when you come together, of course, you are one. Even if you go to court, even in Nigeria system as well, if you do court marriage and you want to divorce legally, your property is the same thing. Like both of you, they have to split the whole thing. So it's not only over there. I think when you do court wedding, you are married legally and they believe you are one. So you can't just go with everything. No. Let's assume like I live in the Netherlands, right? You must not go to court to marry legally. You just go to the city hall and then you get a date, just marry, no bride price, nothing. Just sign the contract, right? Not in the court. So, but as soon as you want to divorce, we call it squaring here, the woman gets some certain percentage of whatever you guys own together, even though she never worked for it. So my question is, would you choose that over traditional way of marriage in Africa? Which one would you choose? Ikenga, you go to registry, right? The city hall, wherever you go to. Hold on, Mr. Amide. The city hall, or wherever you go to in Europe, is empowered by law to make that your union legal. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. Understand? There's no argument about that. You don't need to go to court. It is legal. So same way our traditional way is legal. When you say you are married traditionally, it's also legal. Are we in agreement? When you say you are traditionally married without certificate, it is legal. Since the co-parents of those two people accept and they are witnesses that both of you are legally married, it is legal. You don't have to go to court. So same thing here in Europe. No bride price, go to city hall, get a date, marry, consummate it, you are married. But when you divorce, the woman gets a share. Even though she doesn't have a child for you, even though it's just 1 week marriage, 24 hours married after that contract, you must pay. So why is it that the man loses more? I need someone to defend it in that sense. Okay, so it's not necessarily, it's not compulsory for the man to lose all, but most of the times men do enter the marriage with more, like many, most of the times they do have more. All right. So for me, I'm not going to say I'm going to prefer that. But what I'm saying in my submission is that it's not compulsory for us to hold on to a tradition of making men to be pressured financially because they want to settle down. Number one. Then number two, if we are talking about treating women properly in their marriages, then we have to stop this idea of you have to bring 3 cows, a lot of this, a lot of that. How would the man treat the woman after getting? That's my solution. Clarification on this. There is a difference between bride price and marriage rights. What most people are misconjuncting together here to be married, bride price are marriage rights. Okay? in some traditions, you can decide to pay the bride price, or they call it bride wealth. If you don't want to call it bride
Right,
price,
that's correct. That's correct.
you call it bride wealth, and then you are married. Forget the marriage right. The family can do away with the marriage right. But when you pay them the bride price or the bride wealth, in some countries like India, Nepal, in some Middle East countries, there are places where the groom price are being paid.
Yeah, that is dowry. Hold on, Ikenga, you're referring to dowry.
So, yes, that's called dowry. So that does not make them people that are backward in life, or people that are not civilized, or people that are not exposed, or people that are not educated. I will give my submission when it comes to that.
Right. Yeah, I was just gonna say that. When people ask questions and it's difficult for well, not difficult. Let me not use the word difficult. It's now prolonging. I think we'll do it in a way whereby whoever is asking that question can now wrap up their point of view or their perspective towards that question in their submission. But yeah, Olamide, if you want to do that, yeah, if you want to answer that quickly, then we go back to Scar and we go back on the queue.
All right, thank you. Let me clarify this. When I dropped my submission earlier, I'm not necessarily saying that, okay, like China, like India, as you mentioned, it's the women that pay groom price there, all right? So I'm not saying like culture or tradition would necessarily go. What I'm saying is the whole idea as women are the only valuable object, and then you have to beg, you have to pay, you have to like be financially pressured before you settle down in Nigeria is what I'm totally against. That's what I'm trying to pass across. I'm not saying like it has to be scraped totally, but the way they put it as if you are marrying the daughter that a man has spent all his own money on, raise her up, and didn't they raise me up as well? Do you get my point? They raise men up as well. They send them to school as well. The same way we send women to school.
Right.
And everything is just like, that's what I'm trying to say.
Thank you so
much.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where you're coming from. And another compelling point I'm going to put to support what you just said now, Olamide. For people emphasizing on, they spent a lot, especially Scott, you were saying something about the money is to fix the inconvenience of letting that woman go away, because who's going to be taking care of the house? Who's going to be? That means she was used as a tool, of, in keeping the house clean, which is one of the major reasons why people get misused. When they now get to their husband's house, they will be like, "Didn't they teach you how to cook? Didn't they teach you how to clean? Didn't they teach you how to do this? Didn't they teach you how to do that?" And it's more like empowering men to use excuses like this to abuse our women, right? And I see that point as a very, very conventional and weak point. And this is why I say it's a weak point. Now, Scar, what happens to a motherless and a fatherless baby that grew up without a parent and ready to get married? Who collects the bride price? Or are you saying she is not going to get married, or a marriage is not going to last? Because we do have people like that. We have people that grew up without being raised, without being paid for their school fees and all these things you guys have listed out, and they ended up having a happy married life. No one paid for their bride price. No one gave them out. No one did the marriage right and all these things. These are things to let you know that without these things, marriage can survive. Marriage can excel. But I'll be willing to hear from you. So, right, in regards to what happened earlier on, you were breaking, the net was bad. Wrap up your question with Olamide, then we move on from there.
Thank you very much. Now, sorry, if paying the bride price gives the man the right to refuse to enter the kitchen, and we remove it and he doesn't pay, can that man not still claim that right for the sole reason that he's buying the food or he's funding the kitchen? Can he not still claim, because I'm funding this kitchen, I won't enter the kitchen to make the food and pay for? And if that is the case, when the man is getting married, do you think this man is leaving or abandoning his own family? Does his duties to his family stop? Does the man join the woman's family, or the woman join his own family? So why exactly if that's the case, why exactly do you believe that a man who was raised is losing, like his parents are losing him because he gets married? Would they lose him after getting married the same way the bride family lose her? I don't know if you understand. Help me respond, please. Thank you.
I get your question. So let me go with this. from my own perspective, I've not seen any woman getting married to a man and just abandoning them totally like that. Even most of the times, what I see here is that, you know, the husband sometimes even like have to pay the siblings, have to like, sometimes he'll be the one to like even fund them. They will say, oh, you are married now, you are your husband, you are going to fund them to school, your siblings, your younger ones. I've not seen any situation like you totally abandon. That thing is just like, I don't know, maybe it's only on the paper. I don't think you get married and then you won't have access to your mother again because you are a lady. I've not seen that. And even the man, most of the times they live to cleave. You know, most of the times the man doesn't want to even stay with the parent as well. So all this, he's coming to my house, he's coming to my father's house. Most of the time, men go out there, they leave their parents to also cleave to their wives, and nobody on no accounts do ignore their parents. I can tell you that one for free. Based on my own society, you forget. I don't know, maybe that's how they do that. That once you get married as a lady, you have to abandon your parents, no communication, no visitation. I don't think that's totally true. And then the other question you have is that if this the man that is providing food to the kitchen, he will say, oh, because I'm the one buying the food stuff, I don't have any respect. That doesn't make any sense as a man, you know. And that's why most of the times I do tell some of the ladies I can talk to, like, you to get empowered a little bit. So if you have the kind of situation whereby the man is, you know, for me, I'm the one providing and everything, then usually you can, you know, fund something. But when it's in a situation where you don't have anything, that's why the man will be like, I have so power over you because I'm the one providing, I'm the sole provider in the house. So you have to obey as a woman. You don't have any choice than to obey in that situation. But it doesn't make sense for men to now say, oh, because I'm the one providing the food and I don't have to go to the kitchen anymore. So that answer your two questions, please.
You answered the second one, but not the first. Jimmy, are you there?
Yes.
I was trying to get my attention, Jimmy, in the stream yard. It was really loud and noisy. So that's why I moved over here.
It was what?
It was really loud. There's this static sound there. So yeah, I was just trying to get attention. And anyways, look, I think it's better I just stay here for now.
My chairman stay here now. My chairman stay for PDP. No, they waka.
No, I did this now. I did this now. This is our home.
So,
but Jimmy, can I just take one moment and respond to Ikenga what he said? That's what I was trying to do when I was trying to get your attention.
On StreamYard, yeah. So what happened is I don't know what is going on. The light keeps going on and off. It just trips off and it affects the internet. So that way, it takes me a couple of minutes before the thing refreshes.
Yeah, I'll just stay here. If that's okay.
Oh yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
You just take a minute. So Ikenga, right? What you said. So two things. Number one. The reason we have laws is to protect the interests of everyone involved. Because we know many of these traditional laws don't necessarily look out for the best interest of people. And a lot of times that's skewed in the application, you know. So, well, also when it comes to property rights, most of the time, traditionally, it's the man that goes out, the woman keeps the home. So a lot of times, most judges will defer to just saying, okay, because this lady, her career, life came to a stop after the marriage, it only makes sense to say, let's compensate her for all the years that she maybe commensurate with the amount that she could have made if she had been pursuing her career. And also, finally, it's not every time that men get the brunt. Oh, by the way, your comment about one day after marriage, I tried to look for Poland. I couldn't get a specific number, but I know in the US, you have to be married for at least 3 years. 3 to 10 years in most states before you can qualify for half of the man's property. Now, also that said, there are women that are paying men after divorce as we speak. There are women that are paying men after divorce. So let's be straight with the information we dish out about these things. That's all I wanted to say, Jimmy.
All right. So yeah, thanks. So this is what we'll do now, guys. We have to.
Jimmy.
Sorry, Dr.
Jimmy, I'm going to drop out.
No, wait. Before to go
right. So I want to.
So I can fire back.
Jimmy, yeah, sure.
I want to add a little bit.
Guys.
I'm adding to what you say.
Guys. Yeah, guys, please. One minute. 1 minute, guys. 1 minute.
No. See, I'm just trying.
No, I want.
Guys, 1 minute, please. 1 minute.
I want you to tell me where he belongs.
Yeah, I want to obviously.
No bride price.
Tudo is against bride price. So hold on, let me say this.
You are not involved, dude.
Ikenga, you were not informed too.
Let me
What's of that patient's daddy?
let me say this real quick. So we have 4 categories of speakers now. We have people speaking to support the bride price, people speaking against the bride price, and we have people that their support is quite complicated, and Izzy is their chief there. Izzy is number 1 on that list. I don't know where Odun belongs. Odun, are you in support of bride price, against it?
My job is to customary person.
So customary person. So that means you are for it. You are for
100% for it.
bride price. Okay. So now that we know, okay, so everyone is Chief, I don't know what is wrong. I've been trying to bring you up. It's not. Guys, please update the Twitter app if you're using iOS or Android. There's a new update. It might be glitching. So I still want to be certain people can hear me crystal clear on live stream on all the platform, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. I can see we're still active. Started 26 minutes ago. We forfeited the 2 hours 30 minutes we had previously, and it was growing. We had about 200 people on that one. So moving forward, Olamide, that was beautiful. So just came to challenge Ikenga now. Karigo, you wanted to say something to buttress what Judo said, and
Yeah,
after
I
that,
said I wanted to use, for example, in the UK, the property you're sharing is not the property. It's the property. Let me say now, I have 5 houses and I married a woman and we stay in that marriage for 5 years. The property they're going to share is the property we built together in that marriage. My own property that I had before the marriage started, the only way the woman will get that property is if children are involved.
right?
And they are including the property she's getting from me. My premarital property that she's taking is because of the children, not because of her. And another thing, if the woman is the richer one, if the woman is the one that has more properties before we entered marriage, and maybe our children are of age to choose who they want to be with, and our children decide to be with us. I currently have a nurse in the UK, Nigerian nurse, that married. He married an Irish woman. They had properties. The Irish woman had properties before they got married. So they had one child, Adora. When they divorced, Adora chose to be with dad. The dad took the woman's house. The woman had to move out. Because the house automatically, the court sees it that the house belongs to Adora. Adora needs to be taken care of, not the woman or the man. So when you people bring this, take the man's property, take the woman's property, try to read the laws of the place you are and understand how it's being done. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Karigo. That was a good one. I didn't know they've changed it. I think it used to be. I think it used to be 3 years before, but now I think it's 5. Okay, so Eze, let's go. I want to hear how you're indifferent about this and what you think about this whole thing. You're not for and you're not against. Oh, yeah. So Ikenga, this is what you're gonna go. So what happened is this: we have 4 categories for bride price, against bride price, and indifference, and StreamYard. So, but now we've heard from bride price, which is I think the last person that spoke on bride price was Scar, and against it was Olamide. So after Olamide, I'm moving to indifference, which is Eze is on that list, and we don't have anyone currently on stream yet. So when we're done with that, you are next on for bride price. So I don't want it to look like I'm skipping people. Then that's why I'm taking my time.
Bride price.
No. It's confused.
Okay, can I just go? You can too much.
Yeah,
you're
confused. Yeah.
I'm not confused.
All right, go ahead.
We're part of my approach to bride price is like a coalition's approach to environment.
Jesus Christ.
It's a bit complicated to the nose.
Take me down.
But back to serious stuff, right? Bride price in what we know in Africa, or specifically in the eastern part of Nigeria where I grew up and some part of Yoruba land where I've witnessed things.
think it's just it symbolizes what it signifies and signifies what it symbolizes. It is not a deal breaker. See, Carigwe, I think your analysis of this culture thing, whenever we talk about it, I think your memory, it's been a while you went home, I would say. So your memory and most of your examples are stuck in what happened to your grandfather and your grandmother. I think the world has moved so much, right, from that. So when you cited the example of if you buy a TV, you're going to return the TV and they'll balance your money, just like if you bring back your wife, you're going to ask for. I don't think it's the same thing. So for bride price, I think it's more like a symbol that is a core part of a long ritual that you will have to undergo before you become part of that family, and that family becomes part of you. Because when you get married...
Wait, why is everybody dropping? Sorry, easy. Oh, maybe they are updating their app.
Or maybe they fear. I was going to never run too because I
won't fear who? Fear you?
No need today.
Oh, come on.
I'm joking.
Cool. Keep talking.
So
guys, request for the mic. I just updated the app too. So go ahead. Is it?
So even in the Bible, Tudo will know this part. I think it was Jacob and Leah. If my Christianity, this thing sounds me very right? That Jacob has to go to Leah's father's house and do some job. I think I witnessed.
You're right. So he was running away from his brother after killing his brother, and then he went to his uncle, and then he wanted Rachel, the younger one. The father now deceived him and said, after 7, you have to work for 7 years to get Rachel.
Yes.
But in their culture, the elder sister does not marry first. Sorry, the younger sister does not marry first. The elder
sister.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I've witnessed something like that back in the late 80s, 90s in my place, where they would say, "Oh, my in-law is coming to do the job," and I would ask my grandmother, is he going to be paid? How do you reward the person? They said no.
See, I was in the shop and I feel like it was insulting when you told me that, when you said that. I left Nigeria in 2020.
Carigwe, let him finish.
I left in Nigeria, I lived in the village, so don't tell me that.
Yeah, Carigwe, let him finish.
No, Chibi, I find that insulting.
Yeah, don't worry, let him finish.
Carry your blood to the heart. Let's say you don't get girlfriend. Who not give a girlfriend? But
yeah.
AK-47 on top no issue. Carry will come down your blood to the heart. Jimmy and to the moon a fine wife or girlfriend for this boy. It's to the ash. So back to my carry one day working. I just got the joke. No go kill me. So back to what I was saying before, right? I do not think it's a deal breaker, and I do not think women are being sold. Now, there is another angle to this conversation. Let us remember, in African context, the child belongs to the entire community. The child does not just belong to that father and mother. That is why, in the classical time, if you're doing something wrong, I almost use the F word. If you're doing something wrong in, let's say, Oshodi, right, and your parents live in Sulere, and your neighbor, your 2 streets, your neighbor who is like a street away from you sees you, as long as they know your parents, they will treat your matter there and then bring it back home. You will stay collect. If you are in danger, they will also stick their neck to make sure you are protected, safe, and brought home like their own son or their daughter. So when you are getting married,
it seems it's been a long time you left Nigeria. That's why I'm saying that thing.
Dr. O, let him.
I say classical.
Yeah,
right?
let him go
Last time
ahead.
you cleaned your eardrums. When was last time you cleaned your eardrum? Are you struggling with comprehension? Your friend don't start. So when I remembered, I've witnessed, a number of these where when you are coming to get married to the girl, you bring something for the mothers, you bring something for the fathers, and when we come there, and when the negotiation and the argument starts, you will hear things like, "Oh, when you were 2 years old, I was the one that carried you. I cleaned your poo-poo. I was the one that was helping you cross the road when you were going to school. I was the one protecting your mom when your mom was younger. Before she got married. They would say things like this. Then I would go down and ask, why? What is the significance of all this? And they will explain to me that in Igbo language, meaning the child belongs to the community. We all raised you together.
Right.
When you are outside, I take responsibility for your protection, just as your father will take responsibility for your protection. So we are your fathers. We are here, right, to take our rights.
Which
That
right?
is not.
You're collecting the money of security.
Jimmy is not money. Jimmy is usually not money.
I don't
Usually
know.
not money.
Right.
And most times, right, the way
it's not money, but now money that they use buy those things now.
No, it's symbolism. Because you hear things like, I'll speak it in Igbo and I'll interpret it. You hear things like, "Werubegi marubem," right? Use your home to know how my home is. Don't come here and be demanding for Rolls Royce when you know you don't have Rolls Royce in your house, right? So what we have is what we will give. It's just symbolic. Like people will come in and they will go, "Oh, our bride price is 1 million."
What if we don't have anything?
You will still go with your wife. They will just say at a point where what will happen is,
Will you tell me that?
Karuge, don't worry. You ask the question. Let him wrap up. You ask the question. Yeah.
Calm down.
No, he has a question. Most of the time, I do have a question sometimes.
You just broke my flow. I was frustrating. This guy is breaking my flow.
No vex. 1 minute. So yeah, wrap up.
So, what was I going to say? So, yes. So, Jimmy and everybody listening to me, right? If you witness it in the eastern part of Nigeria, we will say things like, whatever thing you have, bring. See, it will boil down to a point. They will say, whatever you have, bring. This process is a continuum. It doesn't end. What it means is that your father-in-law, your mother-in-law now becomes your father and your mother, and you're responsible for their welfare. Nobody is holding knife on your neck or saying you must. Then vice versa. So that is why I said it's symbolism and it's part of the long ritual that unites people into a family and a family into the person. So, but there have been a few people that tried commercializing it by saying, "Oh, if you don't bring this, it's not going to happen." That held sway for a short period of time, right? But currently, whether you like it or not, if you come to a girl's house, if it's 1 naira that you have, you put it on the table, the family will say, "Well done." They will pray for you and you will live with your wife. So largely it's symbolic. I've not seen, there were a few times in the past when they will say, "Oh, this is what you must bring." But if you don't have it, your wife will still go with you. The final point is usually marriage is a continuum. We will continue doing this as time goes on. So I requested for the mic when I started feeling I might be misinterpreting it. When it was sounding as if some people were justifying that, yes, bride price is the worth of the lady. You must pay it. And some people might be saying, "Oh no, you cannot quantify the worth of a human." I think that is the truth. I just came up to clarify the fact that
Thank you.
It's symbolic because there are so many elements to it. I do not think it represents the worth of the lady.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Izzy, thanks for that. Karigo, you have a question for him. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, the question I have for him, he kind of answered it, but I want to kind of also tell him something. He say, what the people that are for bride price are trying not to understand is, we are not saying the whole marriage ritual and ceremony should be scrapped. Nobody is saying that. What we are saying is that particular clause in that ritual that calls it bride price is causing trouble in our society. I have seen many places, I've been in marriage negotiations where the marriage failed to go on because the boy couldn't afford everything they told him to bring. I've been in a family where the girl said, it's like you people want me to follow this, but because the girl normally is not in the discussion. So when the girl found out that her family is trying to destroy it, the girl said, it's like you people want me to run and follow this man without anything. So all those things, what we are saying, we are not saying introduction, do the traditional marriage, do everything you want to do in the marriage, but that particular clause that says bride price, we can stop it.
So what do you think we can replace it with? Price,
We
bride?
can remove it entirely and do other
My guy.
we can remove it entirely and do other
Can you tell me in your village? Can you tell me how much is the bride price, the actual money? How much it is?
Is it done by village, or each family has the right to do anything they want?
It's usually done like village by village. Basically, people will have their rules.
in my village currently.
Shilling.
In my village currently, it's 25,000. In my village currently, it's 25,000, and they tell you to bring this in all currency.
Okay. In my mom's village, hold on. Let me just drop this, then you go on. Let me just drop this, you go on, right?
Guys, one at a time, please.
So in my mom's village, right, they will say graduate is 1,500. Non-graduate is 1,400 or 1,200, right?
Good.
Now, Jimmy, when you bring that money, including what Kariwe is saying, that 25,000, when you bring that money, right, your father-in-law will take a bit of it. I think it's usually like 5 or 10% or something smaller, and he will give the rest back to you and say, you are not paying for my daughter. I just want you to know that we
that's culture started because people.
Okay, I'm just gonna leave Kariwe, man. I think
I was supposed to go down.
Right. So
Jimmy, just 10 seconds.
Dr. O wants to talk more.
I want you to listen to me and
I'm listening to you, my brother.
rationalize the idea of attaching money, payment, a price to you getting married to a woman you love. That is what I want everybody to rationalize.
Hold on,
wait, now let me land. Hold on. That you see a girl that you like, you are dating her, but for you and her to move in together as husband and wife, there has to be an exchange of a particular price, whether it is 1 kobo, £1, €1. Just think about it. For example, just rationalize that as an see as buying something. You are buying a human being. Whether they tell you we are not selling it to you, whether they please reach your mind. Whether they tell you we are not selling it to you, whether you bring 1 million and they take 10% of 1 million and put the other, it doesn't matter. The fact that there is an attachment of price to this person is dehumanizing. It means you are buying a commodity. And in the Nigerian society today, men use that line, I have paid your bride price, I tell you whatever you want to do, and you sit there, I want you to sit.
Right.
And that is the problem we are talking about. That is it.
Okay.
Jimmy,
So
Jimmy, as a man,
buying
Jimmy, as a man,
right.
if you grow up,
Guys, one mic. Guys, hey, guys, one mic, please. Okay. So I'm just gonna ignore all that. Ikenga, you're gonna go next. Whenever I say stop, guys, please just listen to the sound of my voice. We're not kids yet. So I'm gonna disregard all that. Ikenga, you're next. Go ahead.
Jimmy. Okay. Jimmy. I appreciate that. And Jimmy, can you hear me?
Sorry, who's that?
It's me, Integrity.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, sorry about that. Can we have women come up to speak?
Yeah, I was actually I sent messages to people in the comment section. I don't see anyone coming up, so and that's why
it would be nice for women to come up and
yeah, that's the reason why I'm glad you're the only one here, and no one is gonna be replacing you anytime soon.
When it's my turn?
Yeah, it will get so Dr. O.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thanks. Integrity. So
me and you don't get on.
So-
that is why it is not fair when they don't let us talk.
yeah, so you guys do have a turn. You guys have a turn. So guys, please, it's Ikenga's turn. It's Ikenga's turn. Okay, we have a woman coming up now. 1 minute. Let me see. Oh, there's no space here. All right, so it's Ikenga's turn now. After Ikenga, we'll go back to against bride price, which is Dr. O. And after that, I'm going to the next person will be anyone willing to speak and drop, so we can bring another speaker up. But Ikenga, go ahead now. Oh no, don't worry, I see you. You're under for marriage. So after Ikenga, it's Odun, then Chief. Actually, Chief was here before Odun, so after Ikenga, it will be Chief. Sammy dropped.
Chief not informing now.
Sorry?
No, but all these people, this lineup are the people that are for bride price. I thought you were doing it interchangeably.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just listing out the names of people under for bride price. So after Ikenga is going to be Chief, but that's under bride price. So but after Ikenga speaks, then we'll go to against bride price, which is Dr. O. Then we go back to bride price again because those are the only two categories we have. And I'm going to take the next person that's willing to speak and drop. Then we can have Queen. Queen Alu is here. There's no space on the speaker section. Ikenga, thanks for the patience. Jump in. 5 minutes, please.
Okay, thank you so much. I wanted to speak when you gave me the platform to speak earlier. And Madam Integrity, with all due respect, next time when you want to interrupt someone who is speaking, you will also take permission. You can't just be calling Jimmy, and I'm speaking. So I don't really like that. Okay, moving forward. This is my Sorry, Mr. Ikenga, I apologize before I started speaking. I don't think can you not make it personal? I apologize before I started speaking. I did apologize. I did apologize. Myself. Yeah, you did it. Accept it. Thank you.
All right,
don't make it personal.
Yeah.
No, you shouldn't make it personal. No, take it easy, okay? I apologize.
All right, guys.
People gag me when I want to speak. I don't actually. You can't get your time is going.
Yeah, it's fine. It's all right.
No, you can't do that. It's making it very personal. I don't know. No, but it doesn't make, I can't do that to you, so you don't. I did apologize, Mr. Ikenga. Don't be funny. Don't be funny. I apologize.
All right, Ikenga, just don't worry about it. Let's go on.
Jimmy, 3 minutes don't go for Ikenga time.
Now you come out. Ikenga, 5 minutes. Go ahead, man.
Okay, I'll just make it short and make it quick. I've actually got my chain of thought. Okay, so the thing is this: I'm a fan of bride price, and these are my reasons. It's our culture, and culture. The primary meaning of it is people's way of life. We will, over time, as time goes on, as we civilize, try to update most of these things that we do, that we find archaic in our culture. We are not actually saying that there are not things that we need to change in our cultures. But when it comes to bride price, I will take it from my ethnic group, the Igbo people. Every tribe in Igbo land has their bride price. And bride price in most tribes is the father of the bride that determines how much you pay for the bride price. Now, we must be able to distinguish between bride price and marriage rights. There are marriage rights and there are bride price. The marriage rights are the one that the kinsmen and the kindred are part of when you say your daughter wants to marry. So the bride price is the money that is given to the father of the bride, be it a commodity or money. Okay? So when you give that to the father of the bride, that signifies that the father is aware that the daughter is going into another family. Okay? So in that case, in my own tribe in Igbo land, my father can demand for as little as 5 naira while he blesses the both of you and pray for you to go and flourish in your marriage. And where Karibe came from, where he said, when you return the bride, you take your bride price back. No. The reason why I brought about that Western way of trying to make sure that marriage is not a loss for the both parties was when you say you want to return a bride, the kinsman who handed that woman over to you is going to question you why you are returning the bride. So there is going to be some sort of scrutiny that will take place. If our daughter has done something wrong, that's when we will apologize and give whatever we take from you back. But if you are the one who wronged our daughter, you will not get that bride price. In fact, your family will get sanction from our own family for what you've done to our daughter. So this is our way of protecting the interest of our own, not a way for us to sell our own. We are not selling our daughters. We don't sell. It symbolizes some sort of respect, some sort of alignment between the two families to say that this journey between these two families continues forever. Because when your children grows in the future, they are going to refer to my family as their maternal home. So this is where this culture extends to. Each and every one of us here on this space, our mother's bride price, we are paid. And believe you me, all of us are proud of it today. To say that we are from so and so place, my mother is from this place, I visit my maternal home, and these are that. These are things you benefit.
Right.
The result that your bride price, your mother's bride price was paid. So in the case where in the Western world where there are no bride price being paid, the government has made provision for whereby the law protects the both parties in terms of problems, divorce, like they call it in the Western world. That's where you go to court, and the court is going to issue verdict on who takes what and who doesn't take what. But in the case where we don't have such, should I call it provision, without corruption in our land, we only go by our tradition, which is only certain and credible to us. So I don't think either, like what Tudo said, I will give you fact now, Tudo. Do you know that it's only 1% of men in Netherlands that has ever received alimony? Google it, only 1%. Even all over the world, women receive more alimony than men. So what are we saying? Because normally men have more money than women. So the question now is this:
Alibaba is the highest. Alibaba is the highest payout. She's paying 3 men now.
Yes, and why are women not working as hard as men in that marriage? Is it because they are being
because you people will keep them in the home and let them work. You let them work. Even in the Western world, they do it. They do it in the Western world. So
it's because of childbearing. It's because of childbearing in 9 months.
Mr. Ikenga, we've had several men interrupt you here, and you have not made any solve out of it. Several men interrupt you here, and you have not said a word. So you see that you are going very personal?
Oh my goodness.
Interrupting you here, and you have not found that offensive. And this is the mentality of the kind of people we have here.
That's why we are entitled men.
And you took it personal with me. That men have been interrupting you here, and you did not say a word.
He's doing the same thing again. They didn't interrupt me and say.
They did not interrupt you.
No, they didn't say, Jimmy, can you hear me?
Oh, really? That makes it different.
Can you hear me?
You have a problem. Go ahead with your submission. No, you just expose yourself here.
No, you have a problem, right?
You just expose yourself.
You don't know me. I don't know you.
A woman is interrupting you. It's a big deal. Go ahead with your submission.
So what are you saying?
Not too small-minded. Men have been interrupting you here playfully. It it was okay. I just said a few, less than a minute. You took offense.
And allow you to speak because you're a woman.
You have a problem.
Quiet and allow you to speak so you know.
Go ahead with your submission. Well, typical Nigerian man. You are gonna keep crying, like you guys say. You're gonna keep crying. I just called you out right now. Men have been interrupting you here, and you didn't take offense.
All right, guys.
So it is personal.
All right,
I'm just
guys.
calling you out.
Not with me, okay?
Guys.
Nonsense.
Practice somewhere else.
You're a small-minded person.
Practice that your feminism somewhere else.
Well, make your point, I beg, and let somebody else speak.
Integrity is
Small-minded.
all right. It's all right, guys.
So far, that makes sense.
Let him.
Jimmy,
Yeah.
I'm very sorry, but I needed to call him out.
Yeah.
I needed to call him out.
Right now. Go and call your president out. Not
So that was
I'm on fear.
that was not.
You
Come on, guys. It's an international. People are listening to it.
Is your drug?
Guys.
Small-minded person.
Guys, please. It's an international platform. People are listening on live stream from all platforms, not just Twitter Space. So I think people think because of this Twitter Space, it's the regular conventional method. But yeah, it's being streamed live on other platforms. In fact, it was one of the reasons why TikTok banned me last week. Some people use the foul language. So, but having said that, I don't like muting. I just don't like the way this is going, and I don't want it to end in a very nasty way. But let's just try and accommodate each other, and we can ignore certain things in certain times. Please, let's leave it like that. I beg of you. Okay. The both of you are people I respect. We don't have to agree on the same thing all the time. We have our differences. A lot of people here, I don't share their view as well. But at the same time, I think we should pay close attention to what we say and how we react to people at times, please. Let's leave it at that, okay? No one is going to be dropped. No one is going to. I would love not to mute anyone anymore. I believe we're grown men. We're daddies. We're mommies. We're grandpas and grandmothers here. We're people's husbands and wives. So let's treat ourselves as such, okay? Thank you so much, guys. Sorry about that. Ikenga, you had about 1 minute 30 seconds left. I'll put it back to 3 minutes, so you can wrap up. Whoever has a question for you, they can chime in.
Jimmy, I'll ask you a question because you mentioned my name. So
yes, definitely. So when it's done, whoever wants to ask him a question or has a kickback, then I can take 3 people before we move on to the next. Before we move on to, I think it's going to be Dr. O. Then we come back to Chief. Chief dropped again. All right. So we should have a woman. It's not just going to be. I think Queen Alu, you're a woman, right? Okay, it's still loading, connecting. All right, Nkenga, please carry on. 3 minutes, please. Guys, no interjection. Let him wrap up. Then the questions can come in. Queen Alu, you're a woman, right? Queen Alu.
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
Alu.
Yeah, Alu. Sorry, I'm sorry. I ordered that. Thanks for being part of this. So we have you and integrity. All right, women power. Ikenga, 3 minutes. Thank you, my brother.
Okay, so what I was saying, in as much as we find most of these bride price very, very humongous, I think with time we should try to modernize it in such a way that it doesn't stop people's union from taking place, just like Karim said. But then again, it is very important that we do not abolish our culture entirely because we see something that other people practice, because that is what actually defines who we are. The reason why we argue most of the times about our culture and what it takes and all of that, it is because we are not progressing and we think and blame culture and tradition for these things. Okay? There are families who are extremely poor and they want to make money out of marriages. And these are the things we should be calling out, not the culture itself entirely. Because there are people who actually make this culture rich. It makes sense. Okay, there are things other people practice that when you look at it as a black man, you find it awkward to practice it. Like here in Netherlands, they practice every 27th of April, they celebrate the king's birthday. We call it the calendar. Everybody wears orange and we go to the street, and that is a culture for them. And then if the king passes out, the daughter becomes the queen, and her birthday is also what the people are going to celebrate. It's a culture for them. But for me, I find it very key. Why should we be celebrating someone's birthday like that? Like taking off from jobs and all of that and holiday because of someone's birthday because it's a king, you know? But it's their culture. But they're not going to abolish it because maybe you don't like it. No, it's their way of life. So there are things we do as Africans. We must keep those things alive. Like those days in our place, we abolish and ostracize people who we find that they are diabolic. If you kill someone, they find out that you are responsible. We ostracize you we cast you out of our town and village. We don't allow you to come back there again. So it's also it's also the good part of our culture. So the bride price I'm talking about is the way to go for our people. And it's something that gives women some sense of belonging. Not because we are paying and then they should be used as a sex instrument or they should be used as a slave or as a maid. No, they don't do that. I'm an alpha male, Libra-minded one as that. Okay? I'm here in Europe. I have a wife. I sweep the house, I'm up the house, I cook, and all of that. I don't expect much from her. But I think marriage is between two people who owe each other the responsibility to do well by each other. So not a union of someone who is paying for the other person. I don't think it's that way. Okay? Even if you do it the traditional way, you must also give each other the respect that is due for each other. So I don't think it's a way of trying to reduce or dehuman women and all of that. No, it's a way that we feel like our women should be respected and should be carried. And bride price is different from marriage right. If you pay the bride price to the parent of the girl, the woman belongs to you as your wife. Both of you belong to each other. You can go and make your own. Take it to anywhere. The father and the mother, they are the witness to that marriage. You don't have to buy all the things and the things that. No, just pay that bride price. In Igbo land, we call it I forgot that name for it, but there are other names like Ewuchichi and Ego Brabaka. All of these things put together is not even more than 10,000 naira. The wife is yours. Okay? So let's not make people who even pay more for marriages are people from the Middle East, according to their religion. They pay a whole lot of money. You see someone pay. I've attended a marriage in Netherlands, a Yemenis marriage. They are paying about 20,000 euros. They are even doing money laundering with marriage. So ours is not the worst. And we should try to embrace it and keep it and modernize it in such a way that it pays off in the future and our people are even willing and more willing to accept it. Not to abolish it in its entirety. I won't accept it. Thank you so much.
Oh, wow.
All right.
That
Jimmy,
was
can I ask a question?
that was so perfect, and the time was about to click, and you just said it is done. All right, so Tudo, Tudo, and who else has a question for him? I think just two questions, then we can move on to Dr.
Yeah.
All right.
Ikenga.
Ask me what you feel after you. Then I'm going to fight.
Why did I never even talk? Ikenga, Tudo, why did they call the guy like saying that you be Papa? Why did they call him with that?
I picked that up too. He wants to make it 3 times. Don't cut his flow.
How many times that going?
I mean, look.
Here's the question. Let's be fine. You've used words. You've used that word pay, return,
Yep.
pay. What am I paying for exactly?
Okay. We call it pay because it's some sort of give and take.
Okay.
Giving and taking must take place in that instance. I won't call it transaction because you are not buying.
Well,
So
it is transactional. It doesn't have to involve cash. It's more like trade by barter.
No, wait.
Okay.
Wait. When I say give and take, if you tell me good morning and I tell you good morning, my brother, is that transaction?
That's give and take. Trade by barter. You traded good morning to me and I traded you back. No. So Tudo, let me go this lane with him. So what if I don't answer you?
If you don't answer me,
Yeah.
we are not in agreement.
There you go. Exactly.
Transaction. Wait. If you don't answer me, we are not in agreement, but I have made that assertion at that moment. Right? I've greeted you. So it doesn't, if you want to ask for Even in another continent, you go to a girl's house and the parent doesn't accept you. Will you go ahead to marry the girl even without paying bride price?
Oh yeah, so in some cases.
Let him answer my question.
All right, let me know. Yeah, okay. Sorry about that.
So what
Sorry.
exactly am I paying for?
You are not paying. You are appreciating.
Hey.
You call it appreciation. You are appreciating the fact that you want to marry, because if you go ahead to take forward this argument, you will realize that in most cases, men are the ones who appreciate women more, even without paying bride price. In your own marriage, you appreciate your wife more because you find her as a flower.
Okay.
The nature has made it so that women are supposed to be appreciated.
Easy, hold on. No. Easy, 1 minute. Let's do it one at a time, please. I want you to finish that back and forth with Tudo. Then I'll go to the next person, please. I beg of you guys. Yeah.
I want to help you.
Don't worry. Don't help him. Help her. Oh no, we don't need helper. We don't need helper. Oh, we don't need helper. Odun and Easy, we don't need helper. Onídúró mi ẹ ṣeun o, aláàánú mi ẹ máa ṣeun o. We don't need helper. Ikenga can answer himself. He's a man. He's got it. Let it. We don't need helper. Or helper Easy and helper Odun. Don't believe to the guy. Helper Easy and Odun. Ikenga. Oh yeah. All right. So Ikenga, answer that. So Mr. Appreciation. Oh yeah, let's go.
Sounds like only I did some
Hey, album appreciation. Mo dúpẹ́, oníbu ọ̀rẹ́, mo bàbá gbọ́ pẹ́.
I don't know why you laugh. Okay, so the thing is this. My brother gave you an instance here. Okay, there are some families where you go to marry. Okay, they don't ask you for anything. All they ask is that you take care of their daughter. So in that sense, you are also married because the father has given his consent.
Right.
You didn't transact anything, but you have been given the blessing and the go-ahead to go with their daughter. And mind you, you as the man coming to the family of the girl, it's as a result of you wanting to take something from them. Because you must go to the family of the girl.
Something that I'm paying for.
No, you are not paying for it. You are going to take it.
In most cases, we are paying. According to even you and your submission, Ikenga, right?
No, I gave you in general terms. In general terms,
no, I don't.
There is what they call bride price.
So Olamide, I was sorry, Ikenga, hold on. Olamide, when I was listening to his submission, he said, like, it was almost like a question. Can somebody make it make sense that two adults want to get married and spend the rest of their lives together, but one of them has to pay something to make that happen? Make it make sense. And number two, when the marriage doesn't work, you guys will require, the guy can bring the money back. It's like I go to the store and I buy a pair of shoes and I find that they don't fit. I take the shoes back to get my money back. Tell me the definition of transaction again.
Tudo is not true. It's not
like that.
You're asking me to Tudo, you cannot what African tradition.
Guys, please. It's getting rowdy. Please, I beg.
That's where you will go, please. That's where you will go. See, Tudo, it's not what you think. I've just given you an instance of families who deal with these things individually, how they want it. There are people who have come up here to give you instances of how their own family dealt with their own marriages. So it's not a do or die, it's not a deal breaker like my brother said. So the point is
there are people that are not moving on because the bride price has not been returned.
That's why I gave you instance of people who are getting early money because of marriage.
No, I am asking you a question in Nigerian context. Are there women that cannot move on because the bride price has not been returned fully?
That's the thing. There are people who cannot move on, and there are people who have moved on.
Exactly. So the fact that we are having people who cannot move on means that we pay for something, and until the guy gets his money back, the woman cannot move on. What is that again? It's a transaction, right?
So are you generalizing this? Should I go ahead and generalize the Western part of marriage as well? Because that's what I'm saying.
We're not speaking Western part. We're speaking Nigeria here, bro. I marriage your submission, right?
The context of marriage in Nigeria. I'm giving you a context in Western world now.
I thought we're Nigerians.
there are women who are here in Western world looking for footballers to marry and wealthy people and to break up with them like that and take alimony. It's business for them. It's transactional for them. Okay? So in Africa, same thing is happening. There's no perfect culture or tradition anywhere. There are people who use corruption in the court of law to take marriage rights and all of that and then do whatever they wish with it. So what we are saying in essence is this. In as much as we have those gaps and loopholes in our custom and tradition, we must also try to modernize them as time goes on.
All right, that's fine. So in one sentence, I'm not paying for something even though you're using the word pay.
No, you are sorry for that word. Maybe that's what you want me to correct you.
So which one would you? Which one would you? I'm sorting.
You are not sorting. You are seeking for the. You are seeking for a union.
You are taking the piece. Today you're taking the piece.
All right, guys. Yeah. All right. Let's put a pin. Yeah.
Jimmy, I have one question for you. Just one.
All right, go on. Let's take that quick.
Yeah, you said you.
I see people requesting for mic. So.
Ikenga, most of the culture we have today was borrowed, right? It was changing. We were changing and adjusting according to our time. Sure. Most of them, yeah, we are adjusting. Culture is actually dynamic now, so it's not. No, yeah. So why is it that you guys want this particular one that people have used for the bad reasons to stay and not change? Because there are many things, particularly in my village, I know many cultures that my village borrowed from interacting with other cultures. So why can't we borrow? Nobody is telling you to remove marriage rights. I don't know whether it's you or is it you that made it clear. Marriage rights and bride price is a different thing. Nobody is saying let's not marry the way we used to marry. The only thing we are saying here is since some evil men always use "I have paid your bride price" as a reason to maltreat women, can't we remove that particular clause from our marriage rights?
That is the communion of the process. Without it, the mass.
No, it is the money. It's the money you're giving to the father of the cure because you're taking the cure.
Exactly. The moment money
and the reason why people are always saying I'm not selling my child to you is because they know that money is seen as buying your child. That's why that statement. That is why the statement.
So what exactly?
Guys. Oh man. Guys. Even when we had feminist and masculinity space, it wasn't this chaotic. My goodness. Hey, what is going on here? Yeah, we have to move on. Dr. O is meant to go next, and people are requesting for the mic. So,
you can move on, please.
All right, do that real quick, please. Thank you.
I'm shouting and asking for the mic now. I've lost what I want to say. Okay, now, Karibu, this is what you have caused. So the thing is this, Karibu. I told you, the culture you are talking about is something that is changing over time. Are you trying to say that because people pay bride price is the reason why we have most domestic violence today? Is that what you are saying? I'm not saying that is the reason, but I'm saying people use it. That is what wait, you understand me before you make conclusions. I say some evil men use that as their reason. They use it to defend the reason why they will treat you the way they treat you. People are taking advantage of that. I'm not saying that particular notion. When the people that instituted that particular clause in our marriage rights might have meant good, but people in this our time are using it as defense for the evil they are doing, and that is why when tradition becomes evil, that is when it's necessary to let it go. When people start taking advantage of tradition, elders come together and say, okay, we will adjust this particular tradition. And that is why, because people are taking advantage of it and abusing women, that is why father started saying, I'm not selling my child to you. Don't give me this money, or I will take small because I'm not selling my child.
All right.
Because they know, man, I'm taking advantage of that.
And I gave you an answer. So that's why I compared our tradition
Right.
to Western tradition when I said women are taking advantage of alimony system in Europe to go into marriages with wealthy men. These are people taking advantage of an existing system. It happens in every culture and tradition, everywhere. People take advantage of any existing system.
And that's
So it is condemnable, and we should condemn it for what it is. Not using that. We should not use it to African culture.
All right, guys, we have to move on.
Jimmy, please, you will move on. Ikenga, there's something I want to tell you about that alimony. Because people are taking advantage of it, the people that make the law have gathered and also brought a law that protects the man, which is called prenup.
Right.
That's why in Igbo land, there is also an existing culture to protect that same woman that some family do not take money from you. So you do not have that right even as an Igbo woman to take advantage of that system to beat the wife. That's why I give you an instance.
Yeah, the families that don't collect money from you. But the family, yeah, I know some families stop, like my grandfather don't take bride price.
You see, don't have bride price in Nigeria.
That's what we. But it doesn't mean.
Don't mislead us. Please hold on.
It doesn't mean that my grandfather. That's a valid. What is your way?
Oh my goodness. Oh boy. So Dr. Go is gonna go next now. But Dr. Ho, before you go, Integrity wants to speak for 2-3 minutes, and she drops. She agreed to the terms of speaking and dropping, and besides, she's a member of the Cuff with Jimmy community. So again, as I said, I prioritize my community members. So if you pay, you to join. After that, we have Dr. O. I think Dr. O2 is a community member. So community members have priorities. Let's get that straight. This back and forth, my goodness. Guys, I beg. Let's take it easy. We only have two females here, and we need to let them speak as well. You know, all this, we are the problem of this world, man. Hear the voice, cracked voice everywhere. Don't man, Jesus Christ. Okay. Yeah, you're still gonna go. That's a W mute from Elon. So let's do this.
I will speak and come like that's what you are. If that your consideration, let me consider that.
Oh no, integrity beats you to that.
I have an appointment. I have a call to make in Nigeria, and this 9 o'clock already. This is almost 9 o'clock, and I need to make the call for them.
Don't worry, the call is not gonna
It's not about you, don't worry. I'm talking about people that have best time. So it's not about your opinion, it's about
all right.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks. So let's do this. Dr. Ho, are you okay with integrity to do that real quick? If it's okay by you, why not? If not, you can go.
For sure.
All right, okay. So if you drop and she can.
Mute your mic. Madam Integrity, please go ahead.
Okay, thanks for that. Integrity, you there?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jimmy, thank you so much for having me again. Sorry guys, but I think I find it very ridiculous that the men are allowed to interrupt and be rowdy, and which is okay. I hold spaces, so I know it's fine. It's no big deal. As long as everybody is understands each other, to keep it on the same level. But what I find a bit offensive is when a woman speaks. The woman does the same thing and it becomes a problem. I know the people who do this. But generally, I don't think it makes sense for us to make it appear as if it's okay. And I think I see the reason why you don't even have some women come up to speak. These are the reasons. The men do the same thing, and then when the woman wants to do it, it becomes a problem. And I'm not saying everybody here does it, but let's not make it appear as if do things that would kind of subtly drive women away from certain topics. In fact, I think if there's any gender that should even be discussing this, it should be the women. But when you have somebody who wants to prove he's an alpha male, and is not ready to, we all have takes here. It's fine for everybody to have their takes, We don't always have to agree, but don't make it personal. We're having a discussion, everybody is, making their own and standing their grounds, and then you single out a particular person. Mr. Ikenga, if I'm going to go rough, I can go really rough. And that's why when I come to this place, I don't want anybody to call me Madam
I didn't come to your space. Listen to me, I didn't come to your
He's
space.
interrupting now. You're doing the same thing that you're upset about.
No,
I don't mind you interrupting. I don't mind you interrupting.
Why say that can be solved?
I don't mind. You are doing exactly what you just
Ikenga, calm down. Ikenga, calm down.
You're doing exactly what you just made a big deal out of. I don't mind you interrupting. I come to spaces. I'm always on these spaces when my people are hosting spaces, not because I want to be part of the topic, but they are my personal people. So I always try to be part of it. So I don't mind you interrupting. Interrupting is not a big deal. You say you're married. I think you're the kind of person I think you slap your wife if she interrupts you. Because if you're married, part of being married, one of the skills of being married is to allow interruption. Because the other person will interrupt you. Your children will interrupt you. So it's something it should be normal. It shouldn't be, it's just for a few seconds. And it was a big deal for you. You said you're married. You are the kind that will slap your wife when she interrupts you. It's very clear. So you were so a big deal out of it.
I'm not interrupting me.
Nobody should interrupt me now. I won't say what I have. You're not going to gag me. You will not gag me. I don't know who the other person is. You're not going to gag me.
Nobody's gagging you, madam.
You will never in your life gag me. You're an alpha male. That is your cup of tea. You're an alpha male. That is your cup of tea.
See me, they find you. Got me. You're an alpha fucking woman. You want to claim
that is your cup of tea. You're an alpha male. That is your cup of tea.
Have you done any protest in your life?
You are interrupting right now. Because I don't know you, and I'm not here.
Have you ever spoken for women in your life?
I am not interested in your talking, Mr.
Ikenga, what you are doing right now is very distasteful, Mr. Ikenga. What you are doing right now is very distasteful. It's very distasteful. And I'll tell you why it's distasteful. Hold on. Let me tell you why it's distasteful. Madam Integrity, please hold on. Ikenga, let me tell you. When she interrupted, she was talking to the host and she made a statement. Why are women not up here speaking? She did not even ask you to keep quiet and allow women to speak. She was asking a question. And that's, listen, what is it? Mr. Ikenga, please wait, Mr. Ikenga, please. And that is normal because I remember even when somebody was giving submission, I interrupted the person and I said, Jimmy, please, I want to drop and come back. Integrity simply said, I think she even apologized before she asked Jimmy that question. So she already apologized to the house before she asked Jimmy the question. And you just made a fuss out of it. And when all men were interrupting you, you did not say anything. So you already showed your bias and that Nigerian mentality of a woman should not come to me. That is it. Problem.
World shaped by events and happenings. How do we keep up with the trends? How do we get a hang of facts and vices playing out around us? Join Off the Cuff with Jimmy, where unscripted, uncensored, and unforgettable controversial family and social topics are discussed by different people across the globe. Topics ranging from depression, abuse, homosexuality, marriage, sex, anxiety, drugs, suicide, mental illness, bigotry, near-death experiences, parenting, PTSD, racism, culture, rape, peer pressure, abortion, and many more. Listen in on Fridays, 10 a.m. Central Time Zone via YouTube at Off the Cuff with Jimmy, TikTok at Off the Cuff with Jimmy, and X Off the Cuff Jimmy. Join us to explore today and tomorrow while shedding some outdated views from yesterday. If you want your story to be heard, contact us via WhatsApp +1773 461 7622 or X handle at Off the Cuff Jimmy. Just in my mind, Yans Jimmy. In a world shaped by
traditional flavors of Nigerian cuisine, Obidi Foods brings the heart of Nigeria straight to your kitchen with a diverse range of authentic, high-quality ingredients. From sun-dried vegetables like bitter leaves and ukazi to richly smoked live fish and snails, Obidi Foods offers a diverse range of traditional ingredients, the quality you can trust. Each product is carefully sourced and processed to retain its natural flavor and nutritional value, ensuring you get the best of Nigerian cuisine. Obidi Foods, in Nigeria or abroad, Obidi Foods ensures you have access to authentic Nigerian ingredients. For our smoked live fish and pala, thoroughly washed and slowly smoked over a firewood oven, giving the fish a lasting wood smoked flavor. Fully fermented and sealed, resulting in fine grain. Our garri is processed from cassava grown in Obidi farms, ensuring high nutritional content. Red and bleached palm oil, organic farm sourced, unrefined and expeller pressed. Our palm oil has zero cholesterol, no additives or preservatives, and is sustainably sourced. Dried vegetables, including bitter leaves, ukazi, or are all sun-dried to retain the natural color and nutrients. Spices and seasonings from Ehuru, the African nutmeg, to Cameroon pepper. Our spices are carefully sourced to enhance your cooking. Telephone +1832 710 6747 or +234 703 062 3860. info@obidifoodsLimited.com. Website www.obidifoods.com. Obidi Foods. Good delicacies get longevity.
All right, welcome back, guys. As we unpack the layers of bride price and what it means across tribes, let's always remember it's not just about winning your father-in-law's heart with cash. You need to win their belly as well. So if you want to win their belly, don't forget pounded yam with our soup from Obidi Foods. It's not just food. It's the way of you strategizing and putting yourself in a good position to marry. Remember, it's not transactional. It's a way of appreciation. Pounded yam and our house soup from Obidi Foods. Thank you so much, guys, for being part of this. Welcome back to Off the Cuff with Jimmy. Honestly, guys, I'm not happy about the back and forth. I love it when it's intellectual, but when it turns verbal, when it turns aggressive, it's not good for the platform. If it was just only Twitter, I wouldn't honestly mind, but it's an international platform and everyone is watching across the world and on all the platforms. So it puts me in a tight corner, and I would appreciate if that doesn't happen again. Guys, please, we're all adults here. Let's Integrity wrap up with what she needs to say. The good part is she wants to speak and leave the space. Let us speak and we'll move on with the conversation. Please, I beg of every single one of you. There we go. Sammy is requesting for the mic. So when Integrity is done, Sammy can come back up. We have two other ladies here that have not spoken. I think...
You see, Mr. Jimmy, you have to do justice, yeah? You have to do justice. Somebody has been here for almost 1 hour plus.
Who?
More than 1 hour plus.
Who's that person?
Myself here.
Oh yeah, people wait.
So you have to
People have been here. People have been here before
But
you.
if you say people are raising their hand for 1 hour to discuss, to have a review, I think if the radio station don't spend an hour like that to do so.
I think you just put that consideration. That's honest truth.
Okay.
And you make sure you do this so that people don't interject in CP. You have your points, you move on. That's your opinion. Everybody must not accept your opinion. Your opinion is your personal opinion.
All right.
You get the point. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well taken. I'll work on that. Thanks for that. Oh, it's a good observation. I'll do justice to that. Thank you. So integrity. Yeah, go ahead. 2 minutes. Let's get this over with, and we'll move on to Dr. O, and we'll take a new cue. Sorry about that, guys. Let's go.
All right. So, Dr. O, first of all, thank you so much for giving me your slot, letting me speak. The people who know me on Spaces know that most times when I interject, I always go, sorry about that. And I think I did when I interjected. But of course, it was very obvious. I'm sure everybody noticed that where is it, Mr. Ikenga, where is he? Was trying to be personal. Jimmy, when you have, if a podcast are typically, or if you notice, globally, people who host podcasts that know it is very typically volatile. Except you don't want to go into controversial topics. If you go into controversial topics and you have educated people, in the space, for sure it will go. There has to be some heated exchanges.
Right.
But of course, there are certain things you can put in place to, not make people, make people to want to come again. The same people. But I know we're not all the same. There are people who, when they're attacked, they run away, they don't come again. There are people who don't care. So. Podcasts, typically when you have controversial topics, it is a given that there must be some outburst. That is a must. And that is why it's controversial, because we're all educated. We're not here to agree with each other. That will not make sense. Because we're educated. The essence of being educated is for us to, be robust with the way with our thinking, our mentality. So, so with the attitudes too, nobody is perfect. So people interrupt. So at times it can be, you can be overlooked.
Yeah. So integrity. I don't mind. The back and forth. It's just the swearing. The F word has been coming in, and that was why I was banned on TikTok last week. And that's why I keep emphasizing.
F word? I didn't use any F word.
Oh yeah, you didn't, but I heard it a couple of times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? If people, Jimmy, another thing you need to know is, look, times when people come with their attitudes, people want to be very personal in the public space. It should also be okay for the other person to also give it back. So if Mr. Kenga thinks that because I'm a woman, then he wants to come and guard me. Jimmy, I'm here because of you. I shouldn't even be here. I'm here because of you, and that even Trudeau, even when Trudeau and other people, No, you said 2 minutes. Do not interrupt me. I'm gonna call your name.
Don't call my name.
I will call your name. Whether you like it or not, you must hear your name.
Jimmy, do you?
You are not going to guard me. This is the last time you will do that. You will not do it again. No, but not interrupt me. Let me speak. You can call my name all you want.
I will say the truth and die on it.
Jimmy,
this man. You have been getting him since. That is okay. You move on.
Stop calling this person. Jimmy, stop controlling people. I'm going to say what I want to say. I will say what I want to say.
So
if you take your alpha male, take him home. You can say no level alpha male, you take it to your house. I will say what I want to say. Calling his name is what? I'm calling Jimmy. I've called Jimmy more than 20 times. I did stop him from being who he is. Are you serious? So calling a person's name is now a problem for you. I will call his name because I'm referring to him. I'm not going to come here and start saying this person. I'm calling your name. You know who you are. Mr. Ikenga, you're the one I'm speaking to. When I finish, you can call my name till the end of the space. It's not going to bother me. That's nothing. So I will call your name. I was given a time to speak. I will say what I want to say.
I never knew
you and your alpha male will not gag me. I am here for Jimmy, and I am here for Jimmy and my people that are here, and I will be here.
So,
you will not gag me.
So let me get something straight. Have you guys met before in a different space? Have you? Is there? I don't understand.
I don't know this person. I don't know these people. I don't know that. The only reason why they are gagging me is because I am against them. I am a woman. You will not gag me. It's because I'm a woman and I'm just going for their person. You will
Yeah. So Odun.
Odun. Odun. You are wasting your time.
Odun.
You are wasting your time.
Oduayo.
You are not going to yell here and give yourself. You are wasting time.
Oduayo.
That is the reason why I want to ask you. One of them will guide me. I don't care. You will not guide me.
Oduayo.
You are wasting your time and giving yourself a headache for no reason. You are giving yourself hypertension for no reason. I will say what I want to say.
Oduayo, just yeah. So
I'm not interested in knowing who is speaking. Jimmy, I'm
so,
done with this space.
yes.
And Jimmy, let me make it very public here. If these characters are going to be coming in here, because look, you can have exchanges and everybody can go home and it doesn't affect anybody in any way. I saw what the men were doing here. It was okay. I know Trudeau doesn't agree with some of the people here. I know Dr. O doesn't agree. I know Karigwe doesn't agree. They don't all agree. But they have fun, like having exchanges. And then once a woman comes in, it becomes a problem. That is your problem. That is your small-minded problem. You're not going to gag me. I'm going to come here. I'll say what I want to say. You can scream for high heaven. This is the space. You're not in front of me. So it doesn't bother me. We don't have to agree, but we can keep it respectful. You are not going to shut me down, and then when the men do the same thing, it is okay. That is what I'm calling out.
Respectful, and you called me Anofia.
I will call you Anofia.
You see, people don't like to take what they teach.
You tossed me back and I tossed you back. You tossed me back and I tossed you back. You Anofia, and you're not wrong again. Alpha male my foot. You're alpha male. You do it at home. You don't come here to announce you're an alpha male.
Please.
If you have enough confidence in yourself, you're not going to come here to announce that you're an alpha male. The real men don't do that.
People want to speak.
Real men don't announce
all right,
that
guys.
alpha males.
Yeah. So guys,
Real men don't do it.
I think it's okay.
Jimmy, let me put a notice. I think, look, if I'm going to come to your space again, these people are here, I will not be part of it. Because these people are not ready to just leave and let live. I interrupted and I apologize. I'm trying to understand what the issue is here.
So
I don't know why you have to make it personal. You're too small for me.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how the whole thing actually.
You're too small.
I don't know how it's ended up this way.
My point is, if a man did it, it is okay if the man did it. Why when a woman does it and it becomes a problem? That is the point. I think it's a legitimate question.
So
it is a legitimate question.
If you need an answer to that question, I would
You're too small, Mr. Ikenga.
so
You're too small.
guys.
You're nothing.
Guys.
You're going crazy right now.
Compare yourself with the man here who are making sense. The real men here who are making sense. You can't compare yourself with them.
So
you're not gonna come and gag me.
The only reason why integrity 1 minute. The only reason why
I'm done and I'm leaving. If you're gonna have this kind of characters in your space with no love, with a lack of control, just take to the point. You're not identifying the point of media.
Okay, Oduayo, please don't do that. So it is between Ikenga and integrity. Stay out of it. I don't know what happened that led to this. It's as if you guys have met somewhere in the, other spaces before. I don't know what it is. But if it was how it played out that everybody witnessed, I don't think there's any big deal in that, to be honest with you. And integrity was just calling my attention to the fact that women are not on the platform except her. And the reason why she had to call my name a couple of times was simply because I was speaking at that point in time and she needed to be certain that I could hear her. And that was it. It was just a mere coincidence that Ikenga was speaking at that point in time. It's not as if she wanted to speak over you. And to be fair, It's also the same time my electricity tripped off in the house, and I wasn't hearing people at that point in time. It was reconnecting, and I had issues with people watching me live. But automatically, my phone switched back to data, so the space went on. So I could hear what was going on. It was going back and forth, breaking, but I could hear what was going on. So if that was what happened, it's a shame that it has extended to this level. It's a shame. Um, Honestly, I believe it was just a misunderstanding that got escalated to this. And from the sound of this conversation, it's a feminist and alpha male kind of thing. The way it seemed, it was almost as if when she spoke, Ikenga, you didn't want to hear people interject you. But when you started giving your submission and Caribou, even though I know those ones not even listen, Caribou, Dr. O, and everybody did, they just chimed in. You had no problem with that. You had no problem with that. This was my own observation. And Integrity is someone that hardly comes on my platform when I host spaces. In fact, she knew about the topic and she just wanted to come and give her own 2 cents. She has no problem with having exchanges with men on my platform. I just strongly believe this is a clear misunderstanding. Ikengatu has been coming to my space for a long time now, and it's I can't believe what I'm actually seeing right now. You know, both of you on a normal day, I would have just removed everyone from the platform. But the two of you, I don't see you guys like this. So I strongly believe it was a clear misunderstanding. A glitch assisted that to happening, but I don't want us to dwell on that. Integrity, I heard you. I know how you see this. It's a situation of 9 and 6. And I know how Ikenga sees it as well. Because honestly, it was as if when you were speaking, that was when she was saying Jimmy, Jimmy, Jimmy. But she was saying Jimmy, Jimmy, Jimmy to be certain that I could hear her. Because I was also speaking. I was addressing what happened to the network when she was speaking. So it wasn't as if she wanted to cut you off or stop your flow. She wanted to talk about the fact that there were no ladies on the speaker section. So I don't want this to turn into something else. I enjoyed everyone else's contribution, and I enjoy you guys' submission on my platform. It's one of the beauties of having, controversial topics like this. We can agree and disagree. But I just don't appreciate the F word, and the person that used it know themselves. So I'm not going to mention names. So if we can stay away from that, and just whatever happened today, put it on me, okay? Put it on me, probably my glitch network, and the fact that I wasn't paying close attention to when she was calling me. It wasn't to cut you off, again. It wasn't, absolutely. I'm certain of that. And it was based on that anger you reacted, and it was obvious. You had no problem when other guys were disrupting, interjecting, but that was how it felt like. That was how it seemed. I've been going through my DM. People that have been listening from the beginning, they've been sending me their views. I'm not gonna be, reading them out, but it was exactly what I saw happen. So that was what just happened. It was a clear misunderstanding. I don't take sides on things like this, but I think it was a misinterpretation of judgment due to what happened. So I'm sorry this happened, guys. It wasn't meant to happen at all. I'm sorry. And I understand how the both of you feel. So my platform is not for specific kind of people, it's for every single person, Tom, Dick, and Harry, and we come here to learn and unlearn. I allow people to speak their mind and share their grievances. But I just don't like the cursing, and the words going on because of other platforms that might ban me. So again, although don't worry about it, it has nothing to do with you. You have a phone call. I'll see if anyone is willing to let you do that real quick and go. But then again, you have people before you. Nonetheless, guys, please let it go. I beg of you. Integrity. Sorry about that. Ikenga, sorry about the misunderstanding. It wasn't meant to happen. All right. Thank you. So, okay, here we go. The glitch has started again. This is crazy. Dr. Ho is actually meant to go. Yeah, yeah, you're meant to go next. So, let's do that real quick. You're against bride price. Make your case.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Jimmy. And good afternoon, evening now to everybody from my end. It's been a lovely conversation so far and a fierce one as I predicted to you, Jimmy, last weekend.
Yes.
So I think one thing we are good with as Nigerians is we see a word, we know the meaning of the word, but we flip it in our heads because we try to think about it to suit a narrative that we have in our minds. Every one of you listening to my voice knows what a price means. Every one of you. You are educated enough to know what price, P-R-O-I-C-E, stands for. How is it that because a bride was attached to it, you see it as not purchasing something? You see it as not a payment for something, but a cultural thing. So I want every one of you to sit and rationalize first of all. Because I know we Nigerians, we have problem with words. We skew meanings of words in our heads. But I want you to sit down and break those two words apart. Pride and price. A bride is a female. A price is a fee paid for a female. That's what it means. Academically, there is no other meaning for that. It's as simplistic as that. That is first point. Then the second point is, why is there a bride price? Why am I paying a certain fee? 1 kobo, 1 naira, 10 naira, 15 naira, 1 million. Why am I paying a certain fee? Because I want to live with a woman that I love. A human being. A human being like myself. The last time I checked, the chromosomes in a woman and a man are the same, at least according to science. Because I have a penis and a woman has a vagina, doesn't mean I am worth more than the woman. No. But because we've been raised in patriarchal societies where a man's worth in the time of old was based on how many wives and children he could afford or marry or give birth to. That is why we still have that custom of bride price still in play today. And when I checked on Google to get some historical perspective and connect it to what Scar said here, I wrote it down. He said, bride price is a fee payment for discomfort. Those were your words, Scar. I wrote it down. Bride price is a fee payment for discomfort to the parent of the girl for the effort they have put in raising their daughter. And I ask again, are we saying a female, a woman, a girl is only giving birth to do chores so that when they get old to a marriageable age, somebody will come and pay for those chores that they did? Is that the mindset? And also, Star said, when you are paying a bride price, you are paying for the duty. And we was trying to do a mental gymnastic, which is, it's not a price for woman, it's a price for bride. You have to be a bride, blah, blah, blah. It was just doing some mental gymnastic I was, I was, I was finding so distasteful, because First of all, there is no good price. Nobody paid. When I wanted to get married, my wife's family did not come to my own family to pay the price on my head. No. Because the culture that we were raised in saw me as the one going to conquer, going to acquire a full human being to come and join me, so that she can take care of my family, take care of my house, clean my house, give birth to children. And then, as Chikolu said, that childbearing, he was trying to diminish childbearing as if he has ever menstruated in his life, or he can carry a pregnancy for even 1 second. So, bride price has, in my opinion, has to stop. It might not go around in the whole society, but for my family, when I mean my family, me having my own children, my daughters, nobody is coming to pay bride price on my children, because I know the education I will give them, there is no amount of money you give me that will substantiate that. And secondly, because my child is getting married doesn't mean they are being disconnected from my family. No, they are not. They are still part of your family, because you should not be saying because your daughter is getting married that she's no longer part of family. It's also a skewed mentality. It's a skewed mentality. That is why today, in Nigeria today, many men, when they struggle to finally go and pay that bride price, including the long marriage list, A4, you need to go on Twitter, go on social media, and read the stories of people who say, oh, they gave me full A4 paper of list of things I need to bring. All this marriage culture, all these marriage traditions that impoverish people, that push people into long.
And Dr. O, some people are not married today because they can't afford it. Not
Thank
because
you.
they are not ready.
They are not ready, but because they can't afford it, and there are not that they don't even have the girl they want to marry, but because they cannot afford it, because the society demands as a symbol of status and legitimizing whatever.
But the Bible now says we should not have sex before marriage. What's the man do that?
Thank you. Bible says we should not have sex before marriage. The Bible that is not even our culture, that has been roped into our culture, forbids you from having sex before marriage, even though you have all the sex organs and the sex hormones running like volcanic fire in your blood. And then the society demands that you have to
money to marry. Okay, I get it.
Yes, that's the meaning. You need to have money to marry. So in essence, one thing I find also very annoying about men who defend bride prices, if you look deeply into this culture, you as a man, you are being stopped from fulfilling what you want to fulfill in terms of getting married. Because there are many young men in Nigeria today who cannot get married. The economy is trash. There is no job. There are no jobs, rather. People go to university and can't even survive, and they expect you to be able to fulfill the role of paying millions in getting married to a girl that you love, as if they are selling her to you. It doesn't make sense. Because if you go to see, let me give you a personal story. When I went to Igbo land, I have always wanted to marry an Igbo girl. Luckily, I was transferred. I did deployed from Bauchi to Imo State. Immediately, I landed in Imo State as a copper. You know, copper. Everybody, this is 2012, 2013. Everybody copper. Nigeria was still good then. Now, the village I served, the old people there told me, many copper will come here, go like marry our girl, so we know. But open your eye, no go to slow. What did they call her for our Igbo land? Their bride price is very expensive. They discouraged me already from going to that local government. I don't want to mention the name. Many of you know the local government I'm talking about in Igbo land, in Imo State specifically. Why? Because the bride price is humongous. They do it as if they are selling their daughter. So men should be speaking up against this culture. We should not become cultural vultures in the voice of Happy. We should not be cultural vultures, because Most of these cultures that you people stand and say, if we die here, they are meant to limit us. They are meant to make us retrogressive. Look at the Nigerian society today. Despite the bright price that we pay, despite the cultures that we hold dear to our hearts, just look at the society. Is it progressive? Is Nigeria, just be genuine to yourself. Be truthful to yourself. Is the Nigerian society progressive? The answer is no. The answer is no. Finally, to Scar, the arguments you make when these kind of topics come up, you project a lot and you grandstand a lot and you ignorantly and arrogantly behave as if Nigeria is the best society in the world. Whereas you don't even need to do any research to see that the Nigerian society is a crumbled one. It's a crumbled one because the faith we are supposed to hold, I hold to our hearts as Nigerians or Africans. For you who believe so much in culture, we have abandoned those ones, and the only ones that we hold tight are those that are meant to oppress women and other less privileged groups in our society. That is what you do. Because a woman should not just be a piece of furniture that you get married to and say, oh, I'm marrying you and the only role that is meant for you in my house is to come and sweep and take care of children, and whenever I need sex, you open up and I have sex. No, this is a human being like you. A human being like you. And in the first place, nobody should be paying a price on her head. Nobody should be doing it. This is where I hit my mic, Jimmy. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. O. Thank you. Well said.
And finally, Dr. O, he said you're paying for the duty. Nobody is supposed to be paying for the duty. You people are back
for the duty, exactly. And then you always have to compare you for the duty with a job that if you get a job, is your boss owing you? I don't understand.
No, it's not even comparing. No, he wanted to compare with football. I wanted to talk to him that time. If a club buys a player, they own that player. They use him for anything they want to use him for. So you shouldn't be comparing that. For you to compare that, meaning you know that you're buying the woman. For you to compare it with a club buying a player, you know you're buying the woman.
Thank you, Karigo. Thanks. Odnulayo, oh yeah, 5 minutes.
But thank you so much. Yeah. And very important here is first is when you see marriage per se, you see payment of bride price as a means to a contractual agreement, you may likely not understand the perception and the idea behind it. And that's the dangerous imagination for anybody. So when you want to speak, you speak from the place of knowledge, and knowledge clear ignorance, and that's where you should be. Now, in African setting, particularly in Nigerian setting, bride price payment signify only one thing, that a man appreciates and intend to build a family with another family. It's a consideration that you make, and it could be money-wise, it may be something of value. That's all it needs to be. So when you understand these things, you will be at home. It must not be money. It must be a consideration of value. That's why when you say people pay 100,000 naira, somebody will say, oh, your father take 1,000 naira, return 99,000 naira. Is that one naira is as value? And it must not be very big to be of value. But once it is tangential enough, it is consideration. Now, in Nigeria, there's no marriage without that tangential and valuable consideration called bride price. No marriage. There's no marriage in Nigeria when there's no consideration called bride price. If you like somebody has distinguished, if you like, bring marriage list that has wine and everything. Once you do not complete the bride price, you have not done the marriage customary wise in southern Nigeria and in most part of northern Nigeria. So that's why it is important to understand these things. So I would address the issue of financial challenge. I'm a young man too, and I'm married in Nigeria, and I'm married both customary way, statutory marriage, and even the church. So I did 3 of them. I said, sequentially. Yeah. So, but what I'm I'm saying this is this. What is fundamentally important is that you understand the perception about it, first of all. Once you understand the idea behind it, you'll be at home. It's not about somebody buying you. And it's not a way, it doesn't give room. Like King has said, it doesn't give room for somebody to beat his wife. No, I don't agree with it by mistake. We have seen people who cohabit. We have seen boyfriend and girlfriend beating each other every day. Did they pay by price? No. We have seen people who believe very well that they own another person. You see the relationship, they say, why did you believe your husband, your boyfriend? He said, because he is possessive, he's domineering. It's because, again, it is his character. He's not bright price. That is who he is. I have a wife and I break bright price. As much as I did tough rich, my wife understands very well that even people wonder whether, you when they talk, like, why did they come? Because it is my wife, I have to listen to her. I don't get choice. It is fundamental. I even said anybody joke like that. Say for me to open a space on Twitter, my wife has to give me a consent. First, I have to go. What do you think? Twitter open space. I want to do all this thing. She said, okay, go ahead. If I will do so, because I respect her view, and she has to do so too, because it is complementary. It is complementary.
Don't you think the reason why you're reaching out to her is because the noise will be too much and she doesn't like noise?
You know the interesting thing, my wife is not in Nigeria, in America right now, right? So it's not even about that, right?
Oh,
but
okay.
even though I want to take an hour away from her, I need to let her know. Never lie to you.
So maybe if she wants to call you, it won't be like you are cheating.
I have many ways she can reach me, right?
Okay. All right.
But it's not about that. It's about the fact that I have to get somebody. Somebody is my wife, and the word wife is beyond what people see it as. The Bible says you become one. I'm not even using the Bible principles, but I see it as me and my extension. So if I have to do anything, I have to get consideration from this person and say, what do you think? Every vision I make, what do you think? If it's a job or I get jobs, I will ask her, these are the offers. What do you think? She will even give me a better opinion because most of the time, I'm not excited. She's not into the excitement the way I see it. So she will be calm enough to understand what is best for me because she knows me. So that's the understanding of it. However, you can do marriage without doing customary practice very well in those states. My wife is an Equity lady. Equity is very expensive, and I know how much it costs me to do it, to do marriage with them. However, you can easily not choose to do all those things. I have a friend who married for me, say Equity. The father-in-law was able to do something small in the parlor, and my friend went to statutory marriage, what you call court marriage in Nigeria. It doesn't like a court marriage person. It's a statutory marriage. So want to register and did a marriage. And at the end of the day, they are one. Normally they have 2 children. They live in Port Harcourt today. And nobody is telling them, oh, you don't do this. Nobody will tell you that one. Nobody will tell you that one. So more importantly is that consideration you make is not buying somebody. It's just a consideration of a value. And it's the concept. Understanding the concept does not mean you are buying somebody off. No, it does not mean so. It does not mean so. And like I said, in Nigeria, there is no marriage. If you go to customary law to go challenge any marriage, the first thing they go ask is, were there exchange of this consideration? Once the answer is in affirmative, there is marriage. The court will now assume jurisdiction to say they want to determine the marriage validity. But once there is nothing like that, nothing, the court will not have anything. What you have been doing is cohabitation. You are just sleeping with each other. That is why. So there's no responsibility accruing to you because marriage gives you responsibility and rights. But when there is nothing like that, you don't have any rights or responsibility as a human being. So that's why you must understand the difference. So when somebody said his father did not connect bride price, okay, your father have not done any marriage. In Nigerian law, jurisprudentially, there is no marriage without consideration of bride price. Let it sink on your head. This is free legal advice. Don't say they don't tell you. Now going forward. Now when you say people don't have money, that's why they don't marry. No, I don't agree. When my younger brother impregnated the lady, I said, go and marry the lady. He said, you need to have all these things. I said, no, go to statutory marriage. With 20,000 naira, you can do marriage. I was surprised. He agreed with me, and he went to do that. 9 years after, the child is grown now, and he has married his wife, properly so called. You get the point. But if you don't have the means right now, you can do statutory marriage. And by law, in most places, by experience rather, in most places, it's not 15,000. Let's say 50,000 naira, you have done your marriage. And it can be done in any local government authorities in Nigeria. So you must not do it in your local government. I'm not telling you local government to go and do it. And it is valid as it is. You get the point, it is valid. So you must not sleep with people you say because you don't have money, that's why you are. No, that's not the reason you do. And you can still have an arrangement with your family, your father, your mother, your father-in-law's family, to have something very small based on your capacity as a person. Based on your capacity as a person. I don't think any family who know very well that Nigeria is difficult right now will come and start telling you, oh, you do this one. No. They may tell you to do this thing, but they will tell you, okay, do this one first, then you do it quietly. Later on, you can come back when you are financially stable to do so. So this argument on neither here or there and all that. But if we are saying you want to use the baby, you want to throw away the baby with the bathwater because people don't have financial resources to do marriage, that is the reason why there should not be any bride price again. Unfortunately, the bride price is the token, but it's the consideration itself. There are other fundamentals. In Nigeria, again, if you want to stop marrying somebody, that consideration is what you return, not other things that in that list. It is that consideration. Even though it's 10 naira, even though it's 15 naira, even though it's 1,000 naira, it's what is fundamentally important to return, to dissolve is customary marriage, the customary practice. You say, okay, I don't want to marry again. You do so. Once you have fulfilled that obligation, you're no longer married. And that's Nigerian customary practice. Interestingly, custom is changing. What we are talking about today, in 20 years' time, will not be the same way. It must have improved very well and all that. In Igbo land, like you said, there used to be some people paying money and people don't get married because they don't find the finances to do so. When Gosha was governor of Imo State, his wife was trying to pass a bill that they harmonize such things. Unfortunately, customary law is not legislated. So what you can do is to encourage communities to say reasons with your advocacy, campaign for it. Then thereafter, you now move forward to doing so. You get the point? Because doing something like that, where you have to do it like degree into law, will be difficult to enforce. But campaigning for it and letting people understand the reason behind it, and why would you be able to renew our mind to be able to build a better future for our children is more important. So what we need to do is to campaign for improved and modified way of doing it. Interestingly, customary practice is not static. It is always evolving. It is dynamic. So the dynamism of it will catch up itself. But it's important for us to campaign about it. That's why the topic is very important for me as a person. I think that we should start discussing issues like this. Not throw away the baby with the bathwater, but how do we reform it enough that the idea will not be lost in the course of doing the same thing, so that we don't use woman fundamentalists who are just apologists in their view. They just say, oh, this is how it will be. Because sometimes even your parents, maybe your family, your father's family, your father may be late, your family, they want to exploit you. And you're not interested. This is not only marriage. Even burial, they will exploit you just because that is their time to make money from you. And that is the only reason why we must continue to speak on these issues and bring it to light so that people will start doing it. So thank you, Jimmy. I really appreciate your topics. They are very touching. And sometimes you see the argument you are saying because people have a view. You get people, many people, all of us have a view. They may not come out and speak on it, but they have a view. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Right on time. 5 seconds to your closing time. Wow. Okay. That was beautiful. Thanks. Does anyone have a question before we go to Queen?
Yes, Jimmy. Jimmy Kinga said he had a question for me in the comment section.
Yeah, so Ikenga's question to you.
I have a question for.
Yeah, I just want to tackle Oduna before you go. Just 2 questions. Your Ikenga's question for you can yeah, please go ahead.
Come after. Okay.
Yeah.
So Odunayo, I want you to, in all your arguments that you made it because you are an exposed man. You are not a man in that village somewhere in Nigeria who holds that notion of bride price as paying for a woman to heart. So I want you to tell me why there is no groom price. Why is it that only a woman, only a price has to be paid in the head of on the head of a woman and not the other way? If actually you say is a symbol or is a token of appreciation or whatever you guys try to paint it as. I really want to get that concept.
Anyways, thank you so much. I don't know, you see, this is a customary practice of people in different places. When I was in Nigeria, my colleague in the office was paid salary, and he was asking me to do him about 400,000 naira. to complete what he was paying for. I was curious, like, what are you paying for? Are you buying a house? He said, no, that the sister is married. You know, in Nigeria, when you're working with that kind of office, everybody look up to you, and he's the first son of the family. And what was he doing? He was going to buy the houseware and house things for the new couple that were about to marry. He's from Yola. This was going to be Yola. So I was like, how do you want to pay? He said, yes. That's why I was very certain on what he meant, whether it was true or not. Whether it was very true. And in the north, in some part of the north rather, the women family will buy many of these things for their marriage. So that when they go home, they will buy mattresses, maybe chairs, and all those things they will live in. So you are the one buying it. But where I came from, we don't do so. So that's why it is interesting that what happened in one culture or one entity is different, completely different from what happened in another place. That's why culture cannot be legislated, because it is limited to the people to it. So that's just it, my guy. So what happened in Delta State and my place in Delta State where I came from, for instance, it is different thing. What happened in Ogun State where I grew up is a different thing entirely. What happened in the north is a completely different thing. That a woman will buy this thing because they want to marry. So it becomes a responsibility to the family of this woman to provide these things. So imagine that you don't have the means to do so. That's why we need to refurbish and reevaluate our laws, our customary practices, so that we can look at what is feasible. If you don't have the means to do so, what's next for you? You get the point. My friend happened to be the only light in the house, so his responsibility was on him to provide this thing for the family. So that's where the consideration is. So this is part of the marriage, customary practice in that part of the northern Nigeria. And this is what I'm saying is not my opinion. So anybody can say, oh, it's a lie, it's true. You can come out and say it, but it's not my opinion. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I've heard about that before. Even my wife has mentioned that she grew up in the north. Thank you for bringing that balance. And it's a very good balance, because either way, it still shows that it's more of a transaction. Right. Imagine if that girl's family could not afford those things. It means the girl is not going to get married. And exactly. And that is the basis of our discussion, that's that problem. We have to solve it. Thank you, Odunayo.
Thank you. Dr. O, that was a beautiful question. Yeah. Sorry?
I have a question for Odunayo, sorry.
Yeah, make it quick. One question, then we move to Queen. Queen has been...
No, I think I have a question first before...
Well, we can only take one question for...
You think that your question is to me?
Yeah, I thought you wanted to engage Dr. O later on. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's for Dr. O later on. So, Olamide, let's take your question to Odunayo before he leaves. Go ahead.
So my question is, the other time when you were dropping your solution, you said you gave an instance of a guy that doesn't have money before he gets married, and then it was after like some couple of years, probably 9 years after, then they were able to get the money to do the proper, like he paid 20K or something. So my question is that for, some people, they believe before you can get married to their daughters, you cannot, sex before marriage and all that, because you made mention that the guy impregnated. So, many cultures. All right, good. So, many cultures in Nigeria, we, kick against that, sex before marriage and, leading to pregnancy and all that. They'll be like, oh, this is wrong and everything, A lot of people will turn their back towards that. So how do you help people that are probably struggling, and a lot of men are struggling to marry right now, so it cannot be general. So what do you do about it?
All right, like I said earlier, my guy, is these two things you can do. One, meet your family. You meet your family, the in-law you want to marry. Let them know your financial strength right now. Look at what you intend to do and how they can come in. And I tell you the truth, you cannot spend more than 50,000 on that discussion. If you buy drinks, you do all those things, you not spend up to that much, right? When you are done with that, you can go to registry and they will follow you to registry. You register, tell you, 50,000 you are done with that. I don't know about now. When we get married, it is long again. So it was 20,000 I use. So 20,000 I can use to do all those things. But now maybe 100,000 I don't know. Nigeria inflation has cost a lot of things. But the money remains the amount is 50,000 naira. But there's corruption around the environment there. So you have to falsify that corruption or to live there. Maybe when you can live there and pay all those things, maybe you pay 100,000 naira. That's 150,000. You're already done. That's the honest truth. The major thing is about two people coming together and say they are married. That's the honest truth. And it is valid. The worst thing, you cannot even divorce your marriage on any ground. They said it's 2 years after. By statutory marriage, it must be 2 years after. However, in the career, the court said you can divorce your wife on some extreme cases. Extreme cases. Cases will be extreme enough to divorce your wife before 2 years of marriage. There's something Tudo said earlier, and they talk about marriage in America. American marriage is not American marriage per se. Marriage in America is a state-wise marriage. For instance, in New Hampshire, you can marry a wife on Monday and divorce on Tuesday. That's what happened in New Jersey, right? So it is different thing entirely in America. What marriage is. So when you say American marriage, you may be saying
it's not a divorce, it's annulment. It's annulled. If it's too soon, you annul it.
No, you can divorce on Tuesday. That's honest truth. This is my family experience, right? I don't
they don't call it divorce. They call it annulment.
They call it divorce if you have consummated the marriage, even if it's one day. As far as you've consummated.
That's what I said. Which I
consummate it.
Yeah, it's my project, right? I'm coming, Mr. Kinga. You can marry on Monday in New Hampshire and divorce on Tuesday. That may not be applicable in another state. For instance, in another state in America, you can marry more than one wife. In America today, one other state, can't remember the state right now. Maybe somebody will remind me very easily.
Utah,
yeah, God bless you. But in New York, they are trying to pass the law last year to amend the law so that you can marry more than one wife. But that's not the law recently. That's considered in New York. So marriage in America is a state law. It's not a federal law. So we can say in America that's how it is. So it will be difficult for you to say so. That's why I cannot say in America. I will only tell you in the state you reside in, this is the law applicable in the state. These are the procedures you can do because your state limitation by the law within the guidance. However, you don't need all the money to marry. Just marry your woman. Marry a human being that understands you. And I can start small and grow big. That's how I did, and I know very well a lot of people are doing it, and they will still get there. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
God bless you.
Yeah, thanks for that. I love the engagement. Thank you. Without wasting any more time, Quinn, thanks for your patience. You've been here for over an hour. Thank you so much. Jump in. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. First of all, I would say I think 5 minutes per speaker is much. I don't know how long the space is supposed to last. I'll just delve right into my point.
Thank you.
First of all, I want to say that I think the first ever image I shared, and I think it might have been my first post, but I'm not sure, at least it was the first ever image I shared on Twitter. I shared it as a message on this space. It's tradition is peer pressure from dead people. And I think it was a very insightful something I saw. It's from a Reddit post, and I think it was it's actually one of the most powerful things I had seen, because many of the things we do today are human conventions. But the truth is that because the people who started these things are dead, we can't argue them and we hold them sacrosanct. And I think it's also important. I use it to also audit my life. When I want to do certain things, I tell myself, you're creating the traditions of the future. Is this what you want people to do? So essentially, so we are all building, and that's why legacy is very important. We are all building what people tomorrow are going to stand on and say, this is sacred. And that's why what we do is very important. The cultures we create in our everyday lives is very, very important. And that was what happened. That's what happened with Bright Price. A bunch of people who didn't have the internet, they didn't have television, they didn't have in-house plumbing. And so they had a lot of time on their hands from morning to night. And they decided to start certain things, including bride price for women. And then today we are discussing for us whether this should be or not to be. I think so that's one of the first ways to look at this topic we are talking about, which is it's not culture is our culture. It's not special, it's just human convention of people that existed before us. It's not sacred and something that should not be changed. And I agree with what Mr. Karibu was saying. He talked about the disadvantages of bride price, which is number one. No matter, I used to be active on Facebook, but I migrated to Twitter and LinkedIn. A lot of people, there was a time there was a big argument on bride price on Facebook, and the argument was, should bride price exist? And if it exists, should it be high or should it be low? Where I come from, our bride price is a statutory low amount, and it's a low amount that it has been like that, and it's like that now, even with the devaluation of the naira. Nothing, it has not changed, it's still the same price. why some people argue that it should be expensive. So there were lots of arguments from both feminists and non-feminists, like who were saying that if, of course, despite the irrespective of the amount paid as bride price, that mentality of I acquired property is in the man's mind. And so people argued that if that mentality is going to be there, and the people that argued this were feminists, they were like, it's going to be difficult to explain bride price. And since we're not going to eradicate it, you might as well get the most out of it. If you pay, because in some communities, you pay according to whether the woman is a graduate or not, or whether if she has a PhD or master's or something. So the people argue towards that direction. People feminists, why does that argue towards direction say they should be eradicated? So essentially, many arguments for one of the rhetoric behind it is I paid for like paint on her head. It's one of the common arguments men use, whether when they are scolding their wives and stuff like that, whether when we are talking about domestic labor and all those things that eventually lead to domestic violence. One of the commonest rhetorics there is I paid money on her head. And it doesn't matter that money is 0 naira or is 1 million naira. So me personally, I believe that bride price should be eradicated or stopped. But I know that it's going to be a gradual process because even as tradition is just peer pressure from dead people, it's still like you committed an abomination when you say some of these things, you know. It's like when I share my views on gender with my mom, it's like I've said sometimes she just feels like I've said some sort of abomination because she was born in a time when men were like God. So you're now expressing the sentiments that you're trying to talk about equality and stuff like that. So it's like you've said something that is so like it's like you said an abomination or something. So it's going to be a gradual process. It's really going to be a gradual process. But I think that if we are going to, because one of the things about domestic violence is that when it happens, everybody, particularly when it's fatal, because normally when it happens, everybody's like, go ahead. If you say, like, nobody wants to really tell the woman to leave or everything, but only when it's fatal, everybody now suddenly comes out and starts shouting on what would have been done. One of the key things we can do is actually to remove the bride price. That's just true because people remove that sense of ownership, particularly for the children that have not been born, because for those born, they already had that mentality. But by the time we do it for children that have not been born, we are going to eventually change their perception of women and then power disparity in marriage. And the thing is that I think, Mr. Jimmy, I think maybe when you want to discuss this kind of issues, you might have to actively try to invite more women here. Because I think you have a lot of male followers. So to get that balance, you might now need to go to inbox and invite women. I think that was one of the reasons I persisted in this space because I saw there was no female voice and I saw how all the men were talking. And I think one of the things that men do not understand is the power disparity between them and women. So essentially, when you're trying to have certain conversations, they water it down with certain things they say. For instance, somebody said, I'm an alpha male and I clean my house. And someone else said something like, I take permission from my wife before I came on Twitter, something like that. Now, these conversations, well-intentioned, really commend them. But what these people do not actually understand is that it's not the same. It's not the same for men and women. A man taking permission is likely perfunctory. But when a woman tells you she's taking permission, it's likely obligatory. It's like when women are talking about financial abuse and they say some women have to pay their salaries into their husband's account. You will see men trying to mute them, saying, all my money enters my woman's account. They forget the power disparity, the gender, the power dynamics, the gender dynamics of the relationship. Okay, has my time passed? Okay, sorry, let me talk.
You said the 5 minutes is too much, so and you spent that 5 minutes now. And you still haven't
let
finished.
me just say one last thing. Okay, let me say one last thing.
Are you sure? I thought you would have finished within 3 minutes. That 5 minutes too.
You don't have Jimmy, you don't have so many women in your space allowed to speak.
No, she said the 5 minutes is too much. I should reduce the time. That was how she started her submission.
I know she said so, but give her more time. Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, you need more time?
Yes, let me just say one.
You need more time, Ke? Hey, 5 minutes is so that's to let you know what it's like when we start talking. All right?
I get it.
There you
Actually,
go.
I was on I think I debated on NYC camp.
All right.
I finished talking. My time was okay.
There you go. All right, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Wrap up. 2 minutes.
Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is expensive wedding practices, which is that the entire bride pricing has now been recognized into something very ugly. And that very ugly thing is that we now spend so much on the entire marriage custom. And it's very, very annoying because marriage is usually between two people who most times are young. And these two young people are entering this their new partnership in debt. And it's very heartbreaking because it's very heartbreaking because why would you want to do this type of financial pressure? You see people that will give one nonsense marriage list, someone that is not earning anything. And I think that this kind of culture, one of the reasons why this kind of cultures are annoying is that we're a poor country trying to escape poverty. And you look at the things that we disproportionately spend money on, like people would crowdfund for you to have a wedding. But if I told you, okay, come and crowdfund for me, let me do this business that is going to grow our economy, maybe even export, nobody is coming there. But we have this expensive customs around weddings. So essentially, people have now, I don't know whether weaponize is the real word, to now turn it into a money-making scheme. I remember one of my closest friends in secondary school, she told me that when people that never asked you when you were going to school, they call themselves homo, and when it's time to marry, they start bringing this, that she's going to marry on credit. So that's how it has become. It has become this financial pressure on young people, and it causes a lot of strain. You see people that are about to get married, and in fact, sometimes when I go through Twitter conversations, it's heartbreaking because a lot of our conversations center around money, and I'm like, where is the love? Where is the romance? Why is that two people that are about to get married and they're having this conversation like it's one financial struggle? Understand that we're in poor country, but this is part of the reason. Even as little as the wedding, you see people struggle. Really, it shouldn't be. It has made marriage a very expensive thing that is not fair to the young couple and not even fair for us as a developing country, because I think we should be spending money on better things. So essentially, thank you very much for this space. I just want to say that for me, I'm anti-bride price, but I also know that it's going to take a while for people to stop it. But I think one of the things we can address even before we get to bride prices, getting married doesn't have to be so expensive. A lot of people should ethically look, go and get first marriage, go to money mass and go and tell everybody that there's no wedding ceremony, so that we can gradually cut down these customs that I feel like they are an impediment to our economic development. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Queen. That was beautiful.
I have a question for her.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you said go to morning mass. Must you go to church to get married?
Okay, I'm a Christian. Sorry, I was talking from my own perspective. Basically whatever people believe in, they should just do what they want to do. I'm a Catholic Christian, so sorry, it was a default thing for me to say.
Yeah, but you know, in that same your Bible recognizes bride price. It's part of the problem we are facing today. It's part of the cause of all these problems today, because the people that are arguing for bride price go back and quote the Bible for you.
Let me answer that question.
That brings me to the question for Queen.
Yes.
Queen, how are you a feminist and a Christian? How are you a feminist and a Christian?
The objection. I thought we were talking about bride price here. Are we not talking about my ideology?
Objection overruled.
You know I'm asking that question. You made a statement. Hold on, please. Allow me to please hold on. You made a statement that when you are speaking to your mom about equality, women's rights, and all that, she's shocked. And that led me to go and check your profile. I was like, the first thing I saw was Christian. I was like, ooh, you are disobeying your God and your Bible, because those two ideologies don't align.
Let me say Rita with that. I sent Rita their profile picture, so I mean send Rita.
Are you the person that used to have a name Palico?
Allow me to hold on. Quick answer questions.
Yeah. So let's wrap up with the question. Let's wrap up with the questions. I know we have.
She will not be able to answer it very well. How do you know she will not be able to answer it very well?
I think she may. I think she will be able to answer it very well.
She should not be thinking. You should not be thinking. Allow her to answer her questions. You should not be thinking for her.
Allow her to answer. The only way you answer for her is if you're her husband. That means you're going by what your Bible is saying. But you're not her husband, so you don't answer for her.
My ideology.
I can't hear Queen. Oh. Can anybody hear her?
Okay. But okay, I don't know. I don't know why every other person was able to speak and nobody questioned their idea.
Hey, Queen, don't drop.
The Holy Spirit doesn't want you to speak.
Ah,
the Holy Spirit does not want you to defend the ideology.
Queen, don't drop. Please request for the mic again. So, before she comes back, I recognize the presence of Ramsey and King David. Don't worry, you guys are going a bit, but I just wanna say one or two things about this whole bride price thing. Besides my intro in the morning, I think from all the submissions I've listened to, I'm beginning to understand that we can actually have the marriage rights and not attach it to bride price. The marriage rights, I consider that more traditional, more cultural than the bride price. The bride price to me is more transactional, and the marriage rights seems like a cultural thing. You're preserving your culture, and I'll explain what I mean by that. You see, in the Yoruba culture, when we talk about marriage right, this is when they use some certain materials and livestock to pray for the couples, right? They use things like oni, which is oini in Yoruba language. And you see the elders in the families, both could be both sides, but they use it to prophesy sweetness in the marriage. They pray to let them have sweet marriage, and they put it in the man's mouth, they put it in the wife's mouth as well, or they can just tell them to put it in each other's mouth. And they use iyo, salt, and all these things. They have their own names, and what's the name I'm looking for? Is it praises? They have what they mean in our culture. They represent something in our culture, right? So they align that to marriages in our culture. There is no kind of food you cook without using salt. So therefore, they put salt in their mouth, and they use that to say one or two prayers, right? It's an equivalent to the honey, but the honey serves a different purpose. You can put the honey in tea, you can lick it just like that, but the salt, you gotta put it in your cooking, meaning whatever it is you cook for your husband may not be tasteless in his mouth. I mean, obviously you can't use honey to cook soup or whatever it is. So they serve different purposes. So they use things like that, and they use things like bitter cola. They use things like cola nuts and different kinds of cola to pray. Depending on the colas, they use it to pray and prophesy good things in their marriage. Like cola nut is, I think, obi. They use it to say prayers like any bad omen towards your marriage will be omitted, will be vomited by either the wife or the husband. They most especially do it on the wife or the woman or the bride, right? Meaning whatever it is that's probably going to stop you from giving birth. Eating it will make you vomit it one way. Then bitter cola, I think that is robo, meaning the two of you will grow old together. You grow old together, you have gray hairs together, and you see your great grandchildren, right? They have Oti. That is the one Sami was referring to in their in their culture, which is the Ghanaian culture. He mentioned it earlier, and I wrote it down somewhere. Let me see if I can remember it. Akpeteshi, right? Akpeteshi, sounds like shepherd, but yeah, it's alcohol. Otini, oti is alcohol in Yoruba land. They use it to say prayer as well. They can easily use it to gargle, they can spit it on them, in a spraying kind of form, not chunky spit like that, in a praying kind of spraying kind of form. And they use it to say prayers to them, Ujori tea or tiki tea, they use it to bond both husband and wives together. And they use other things like a she goat. They use things like she goats to symbolize the way goats give birth. You have children, male, female, and some people do actually keep those goats. In some cases, maybe the grandpa or the grandma keeps those goats in the village. And even when that goat gives birth, they'll be the ones to call city, say, this goat don't give birth, to probably meaning a sign of you're probably gonna give birth soon. As that goat keeps multiplying, so will your kids. So will you and your household multiply, with kids. So those are rights, marriage rights. I know different cultures, different traditions, different ethnic groups as their own. But this is just the one I know about the Yoruba culture. So I think that is more symbolic. That is more, to me, I think it's more understanding compared to the one that has to do with money. Regardless the fact that they'll have to buy these things, right? But you can tell the purpose at which they are being used compared to saying, we want 3 traveling bags of shoes, walking stick, 3 gallons of kerosene, 4 cows, all this unnecessary things. And you see family members ready to take their own shares, right? So my question is, as it at that point in time, it seems like a commodity. In fact, in some cases, it can be so bad that there will be, they might start fighting over the fact that it's not equally shared. That why is your own yam bigger than my own, or why do you have 3 yams and I have 2 yams? I look after this child when he was young, just the way you did. So why is my things like that do happen? That way it's now seen as a transactional thing, that everyone that partook in that woman's life right from birth, they have to come there and take their own shares, whatever it is, their effort, time, and money they've spent into that woman. This is your time to come and collect your own dividend. That is the way it seems. So I'm trying to differentiate between the marriage rights and this so-called bride price. And I used my own tradition, my culture, simply because I understand it, the Yoruba culture. But I'm open to listening to everyone else that has something else to say about this. We'll be closing early on live stream so we can focus on Twitter. But before we do that, we have Ramsey and King David here. They've not spoken at all. But I would like to take the question Dr. Ho has for Ikenga. Then we'll go to Ramsey next, then King David. A guy came up here earlier on, I think Salas, seems like an Hausa guy. I would love to hear from one of these northern people about their own tradition and how it works and how it goes basically. I really want to learn more. I've been searching and I've been seeing that some cultures, ethnic groups in Nigeria, they don't even collect the whole bride price thing. They prefer something else. I've been reading about it. I've been reading about it, and it's quite interesting. But all right, real quick, Dr. O and Ikenga, let's do the back and forth, and we go to Ramsey next. Uba, I see you too. Welcome.
Okay, yeah, Jimmy, thank you so much. I was actually the one that has a question for my brother.
Go ahead.
Okay, so my brother, Dr. O, you said your own family, or even your own family right now, I presume you are talking about yourself, right? Like your daughter, you mean? That you won't be taking bride price. So my question is this, because you see bride price to be transactional. My question is this. If your daughter goes into a marriage, you didn't take any bride price, would you allow a legal marriage to take place, like court marriage? Before I take the next question. Can you hear me?
Dr. Ho, are you there? All right, I don't think he's off.
Yeah, I know. Although Dr. Ho is not there, his answer will be yes. He will allow a legal marriage to take place. No, because I know we think alike.
No, you guys.
So I know me. Okay, I will allow a legal marriage to take place.
Oh yeah, let me proceed. So let's assume you are the one who said it now. So you wouldn't allow bride price. You don't take it, but you will allow court marriage, right?
Yes, of course. Whatever my daughter and whatever.
Not what they will allow. Sorry, Karibu.
Whatever my daughter and the boyfriend decide.
Karibu, it's not what you allow. It's the law.
No, wait, wait. Okay, let's take one of them. It's law meant for us or we for the law?
him to enforce.
I don't understand. You want people to get married without the government doing about their marriage?
That's the thing.
There are benefits to being married.
Wait,
Right?
That's a decision for you. There's no ask.
It doesn't. You're comparing apples and oranges. There are other ways to make the parents get more about marriage.
No, you cannot marry my daughter in law court, and then the parents are not aware of it, and then you claim it legal.
In order for that to happen, you have to encourage masculinity in a world that says, I don't need no man.
So even the court of law will demand the consent of the parents.
The parents' consent is not important because the parents is not the one getting married. The consent is the man and the woman. The parents is just secondary.
You think so, Karibwe?
Wait. Karibwe,
yeah, I think so. Except if the girl is not up to the age to vote or something. That's how it is in the country where I am.
All right. So, interestingly, I think it was
mandatory and important are two different things.
So sorry, Ikenga. In support to your point, someone just sent me a message, and I think it was okay. The person probably don't want me to mention it, but yeah, they sent me a message, and I put it on the Jumbotron. It's from one of these Christians, and it's a 1 minute video of a young lady expressing herself about she doesn't need a boyfriend to go ask a parent for a hand in marriage. That she's not an object. Nobody needs to go and approach a father or mother. If they want to have her, they can talk to her. She's not an object. And the white lady gave her own opinion regarding that. If you guys just want to watch it, and it might support your argument towards this particular point that Ikenga brought up. But Ikenga, you were saying something in regards to that. I would love you to wrap up with that one so we can move to the next person. But Karigwe made this point clearly, stating unless the person is under age, then nobody needs any permission from their parents. But from the video that was attached up there, I think it's really significant to appreciate that it's not as if they are collecting you or they are demanding of you from your father.
Jimmy, going to the girl's parents, you're doing that because you're not doing that because you're forced to. You're doing that out of respect for the parents, not that there's any law.
Yeah, of course, no law, no laws. But yeah, but the thing is, here's the thing.
Without going to the parents.
Exactly. Exactly. But now my point is, do you think? Sorry, guys, Tina, please don't do that, please. All right. So, do you think that's gonna put a respect on that woman itself? Herself. I mean, by the time she start living with that person, do you think the man is gonna respect her? I mean, she was brought up by someone.
And Jimmy, yeah, let me tell you where that becomes troublesome. Let me say I want to marry your daughter now and you don't like me. Your daughter has already accepted me and given me consent. I come to you and you say no.
No. So that's a different topic entirely. That's a different. No. So Karigwe, here's the thing. The point here is this: you're meant to ask, right? It's a courtesy because look, that man, as long as the lady has a father, that man.
Yeah, you just said it now. It's a courtesy.
So listen to what I mean by it's a courtesy.
It doesn't mean that the father or the mother has a say.
So listen to what I've got to say now. The thing is this: the father looked after that young lady while growing up, protected her, sheltered her, and for someone to actually see her fit as a wife, right? That means someone has done a great job. That is, if she has parents. Because don't get me wrong, there are some people that, orphans do have good lives like that as well, without being brought up by anybody. But my point is this: if there is a man or father figure in that young woman's life, and she's still living with them, and she's courting with someone about to get married, it is only fair, it is only reasonable for that man to approach the father with the mindset of, well done, you've done a great job. For me to see this woman and want to marry her, I want to ask for your permission to take over the duty and the job of protecting her, providing for her, and looking after her. Don't you think that is actually a reasonable way of looking at it?
Jimmy, what you're saying and what you think I say is two different things. You're saying,
Ikenga, let him answer this one, then he will answer yours.
So, Jimmy, what you're saying is that it is fair, it is respectful. I'm not against that. But what Ikenga is saying that it is a must, meaning that if the father says no, the girl don't go. I hope you understand where the difference between the two of them.
Yeah, so that means the father, the guy has actually approached.
In Ikenga's situation,
so that means
the final say.
So that means the guy actually took that step of asking the father. The father just decided, you know what? For my own personal reason, I'm saying no. Not the girl's reason. The girl still loves the guy, but the father just says no. Is that what you're saying, right?
From the question Ikenga asked,
right?
He asked me if I would allow my daughter to marry in the court. I said yes. He said that how can the daughter marry when the father is not aware of it? So I told him that there are other ways you can do all those things without paying bride price, and the parents will be aware of it, and you still marry the person in our traditionally marriage rights.
In our tradition.
In our tradition, yeah, we can marry you. My aunties were married without bride price paid. All the rights were performed, but that bride price tag wasn't given. My grandfather did not collect any money, even the ones that they took.
Aware of the marriage.
Yeah, he was aware. And you can still marry. You can still marry somebody in court, and the parents will be aware of it as well.
Did he give his consent?
Yeah, he gave his consent, but even without his consent, my auntie would have married who he wants to marry.
Traditionally.
Even without, traditionally. Yeah.
It will not happen. No place in Ebola.
And that is what we are trying to stop.
No.
Because what you're saying now is that the girl doesn't have any rights. That is what you're trying to say.
Now, let's be able to separate morality from legality. Okay? Morality is a different thing on its own. Legality is a different thing on its own. Whatever you consider to be legal in the United States is not legal in Saudi Arabia. There are no countries and people exist there.
True.
You can marry a girl in the United States without approaching the parents. You can't do the same in Saudi Arabia.
Right.
These are two developed countries. You can also do the same thing in Dubai. You cannot say because they do that, stop them from being developed. Okay? So we are talking about tradition. And we are talking about what it entails. What you go with and what you don't go with. In our tradition, you need the consent of the parents. In fact, the main purpose of bride price is to bring the two families together. Because if you allow the two young people to consummate the marriage without the affirmation of their parents, it means that marriage is tantamount to faith. Because these are two ignorant people, according to our culture and tradition.
The purpose of the bride price is not to bring the families together. The purpose of the marriage rite is to bring the families together, not the bride price.
Wait now. Let me finish. You can counter whatever I said.
All right, so Kinga, let's make that snappy so we can move on to Ramsey and Cole.
Okay, so the thing is this. The money you are paying has been the argument here. Okay? Why are we paying? And what I wanted to ask Dr. Who is this. You don't want to accept bride price. You want to give out your daughter. No problem. But my question is this. If your daughter marries legally in court, where you live, for instance, in Canada, will you also allow your daughter to take early money when she goes on divorce? Because that will also be transactional. It means the marriage didn't work out, but you allow your daughter to take money out of the marriage. Is that business for you? That's my question.
All right, Ikenga, hold on to that question while they're already setting up the table. I can hear the plate and spoons in the background, so go grab something to eat. While we wait for Karigwe to answer that, I don't think Karigwe is here. Ikenga, if you finish that food alone, we go fight. The cleaning of cups, plate, and everything, you're setting the dining table, and you're here arguing. Go and chop. Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Let me answer for Gary quiz. Kenga.
All right, go for it.
You are lumping different things together, my brother.
Ramsey, stay alert. You're coming afterwards.
Yeah, I'll make it brief. You are lumping things that don't belong together, my brother. The fact that I am not collecting bride price for my daughter does not mean that.
What happened?
Have we lost Tudo?
We need to lost Tudo.
I did.
Tudo. Olugbo. Olugbo ti gbóhùn ẹni.
No, Olugbo. So, you get some new Nigerian people that want to put me inside one group like that.
Oh, okay.
So the fact that we are saying we're not collecting bride price, you are making it sound like any random bozo can just come and snatch my daughter away. No, we have told you repeatedly.
He's even making our point for us to him. That bride price is the only thing that shows that you have the connection.
You can take your child.
No, that's not what we are saying. If I can collect bride price, doesn't mean
Ikenga, if you raise your daughter right, if I raise my daughter right, without collecting money, our daughter, should be the one insisting that the man should come and meet her parents.
That is you mixing legality with morality again.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
can we not make this issue?
No matter how
we are simply saying the fact that
Ikenga. Tudo, can you hold on? Ikenga. I'm kind of going to step out because people at work are looking at me somehow now. Steve, Ikenga is not crazy. Ikenga, listen. What we've been saying here from the beginning, we are not saying that the African traditional marriage rights should be cast away. In the African traditional marriage rights, there is introduction. That is where you carry your uncles.
Exactly.
Come to in my place. You come to my house. Tell my dad you want to marry my sister. Then my dad will call my sister and ask for my sister's permission. That is how it is in my tradition. Do you know this man? Yes. Do you want to marry him? Yes. Okay, go to your room. That introduction, they will drink, give you list. The problem we are having now is among those lists in that marriage celebration that is going to happen, the only problem we have is that particular item in that list that says bride price, the money they are paying to the father for that girl. That is the only problem we have.
It's not actually part of the list.
It is not. It is not part of the list. Are you telling me it is not in your tradition? It is in my own.
Somebody that is not married. Somebody that's not married.
Listen. In my family,
we wouldn't give me list.
Yeah, but you know, Karim will never marry now.
I've been opportuned to give out people in marriage because I'm my father's first son and I'm my grandfather's first grandchild.
Traditionally, yes.
So I've been opportune to give out my cousins in marriage. I've been opportune to give out my sister in marriage.
And have you also been opportune to be part of?
And I've been opportune to see this list, and I can also confirm that bride price is part of the list. It is even with the way Igbo land is now, bride price is correct. In your place. Bride price is the most important among that list. Yeah. And the bride price is part of the thing that if you don't pay, it brings a problem.
They say we should go and look for 3 Babangida of onions. I say waiting with that.
Nah, lie.
We should monetize it.
Nah, lie. Do that. Lie.
No, you said why are you trying to say that? My cousin, Ikenga, my cousin married from Osu. And they told him to bring, this one shower cream. That yellow Vaseline that is very oily.
And they tell you that would work.
That thing doesn't exist again. They told him to go and buy it. This guy is This guy's father get that. They told him 100 tubers of beer. All the list they told him, okay, you can bring money if you don't want to stress yourself. The guy is in UK here. He sends money. He doesn't want trouble. But the dad is all these old professors in Nigeria that don't want to waste his money. This man went to the market, bought a trailer of yam for them. All those things, every item. My auntie went into the market and picked up even the one bush of my auntie found it.
But Kari, wait.
When we brought it.
All right, guys, we gotta move on. We gotta move on.
That it's not about culture for this thing.
Yeah.
When we brought all those things, they got angry.
Karibu, I think you are trying to mix the whole thing together. I've made my submission before where I said that there are these manipulations in our tradition that we need to remodel. Okay? I'm not saying that everything in our tradition is perfect.
Yeah, if we are going to remodel this one, why are you kicking against remodeling the bride price?
No, the modeling you are saying is trying to ignore the thing that really matters, which is the consent of the parent. The consent doesn't actually.
The consent of the parents, that is what I just explained to you now. The consent of the parents is not the money you give the parents. The consent of the parents is asked for on the introduction, and the bride price is not talked about on the introduction.
Now, wait. What you are adding together here is marriage rights and bride price.
I'm the one trying to separate it. You're the one trying to lump it.
No, I was the one who came up here to distinguish between the two. Okay, I came up here to say bride price is more important than marriage rights. Where we get it wrong is where we want to pay the whole thing together. People actually want to do what
you know why you're the person lumping it together. You said here that bride price is asking permission. And I pointed it out to you that you can do the marriage. No, Ikenga, listen, let me prove you wrong now. I told you that you can do all the marriage rights without paying bride price and the parents will know about it. You said no.
You said the parents will not know about it. That's what you
know. I told you that there are other ways to take permission from the parents. That doesn't include introduction is the first thing you do.
So you think introduction
is where you want to tell the father of the girl that you want to marry the girl.
You want to. Listen to you want to.
Yeah, is it not consent? Is it not consent?
No, you have come to show interest. Doesn't mean you want
that
to.
Is it that you're coming? Wow. This is English now, my brother.
All right, guys, we gotta move on. Guys, We gotta move on. Yeah, we gotta move on, please, guys. Yeah, we gotta move on. We gotta move on. Sorry. We've been going at this for a very long time. So after Ramsey, we'll take Uba and Tina. And we'll call it a wrap on the live stream. Then we can focus on Twitter. Ramsey, thanks for your patience. How you doing? Jump in. Ramsey, you there? Ramsey, are you there? Okay, he's not. Uba, go ahead. Uba, are you there?
Leave me and Karim will the fight. They call people when they.
Uba?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Now I can. Go ahead. 5 minutes.
All right. So I wanted to ask Karim a question.
No. It's your time for your submission. You want to go ahead and you want to ask
him the question before I proceed.
Anyway, it's your time. 5 minutes start.
All right. So Karim, like, what you are agitating for? Do you think it has any disadvantage?
Yeah, it has disadvantages because I've been in a marriage council where the
like what I'm asking is removing it. Does it have any disadvantage?
It doesn't.
Is there anything that doesn't have any disadvantage?
Removing it. What removing it will do is removing that clause that people people taking advantage of you. You're crippling
what I'm asking is, do you think removing it does not have any disadvantage?
To me, it doesn't. If you have, point it out.
All right. So the second question is, are you not aware that there are some people who want this?
Now there are people that want it doesn't mean it's right. There are people that want to marry a child in Nigeria now. It doesn't mean that it's right.
Child marriage is I am not arguing that one. What I'm saying is, in this particular topic, this context, there are people that
want it doesn't mean it is right.
I am not even talking about the men. I am talking about there are women who actually want it.
There are women that want to that like being oppressed in their home. There are women who like being abused. It doesn't make it right.
Okay, so paying bride price is an oppression. Or are you making
bride price? Those oppressors use bride price as they use it as a weapon to oppress people.
So is it all the men that use it as a weapon?
It is not all the men, but as far as people
that what is your point?
People should be scrapped.
Okay, so
because this if you make a law and there is loophole in the law, what you do is try to close up the loophole.
All right.
People
so
are
criminals not making use of
trying to close the loophole.
Are criminals not using law?
I want to go back to work. I'm coming back. Just, no. Give me like 8 minutes. I'm coming back.
All right. So this is a general question for you. That for the fact that we have some people not misusing it and some people are misusing it. You see that logically it's a failed argument because criminals, they make use of gun. Because of that, we can't, throw gun away. No, we can't. So let me start with my submission. Ikenga has laid emphasis on this several times, speaking and going back and forth with people. And Oduaya also did the same thing. And few other speakers, they laid emphasis on this, stating that this is not something that you should go and empty your bank for. Like there are some family that will tell you that whatever you have, you bring it. It is not like you will have to, start trying to go and borrow money and do all sort of things because you are getting married. The way it is in North is not the way in East. Same thing with West and all of that. The way in outside country is not the way here. Like these are some sort of personal stuff. Some will tell you that, according to O'Brien, that you do some, then later you come back. But trying to use the argument that it's making people not to be able to get married is a failed argument. Like you can't continue to do that because it is not done everywhere like that. Like that error is not everywhere.
and saying that some men are using it to, oppress women. How about the ones that are not using it to oppress women? And this is supposed to be a choice. There are some women and there are some men that actually want this choice. So because it doesn't sit right with you does not mean that it's not sitting right with other people. There are some women that you want to come and marry and you say that you won't pay bride price. They will tell you that they are not going into the marriage with you. And this is a fact. So it's not something that you should come and start making an argument for. What you want to scrap out or throw away. There are some people who want it for the fact that it is not harming anyone. It is not going against the will of anyone. Like it's not putting anyone or kind of throwing anyone down the bridge. So you can't continue to push this narrative. And why I feel like this thing is just like the saying that gender is mostly that is what I'm feeling here. Because this is something that some people want, and it's not harmful. Because if you continue to bring up that there are people that are trying to use it to, yes, I agree to that. But how about those people who are not harming their wives with it? So what are we going to do with all of that? So when we have a conversation, we try to be logical. And there's some point that Ikenga was trying to make. He made a statement that if you will not accept the bride price, then how about when the couple separate in America? Will you allow your daughter to take some property when they share the property of the husband? And you guys started saying that he's saying something different or going a different tangent. It's wrong. Like we can't continue to make up a failed argument or illogical argument. Let's rationalize. There are some stuff that people want. Allow them with it. For the fact they are not harming anyone. They are not harming anyone. So even the men and the women, there are people who want this. So to me, I don't feel like this is a kind of I just feel it's some sort of an agenda. So I think I'll leave my mic now. Thank you, Jimmy.
All right, thank you, Uba. Thanks for that. Hold on a minute. Got a question for Mike. All right, Tina, jump in.
Yeah, good evening. Right price, tradition or transaction or a trap. Well, for me, on this topic, I just know that there's two sides, and while there is disadvantage at one end, there's also advantage at one end. On the side of disadvantage, whereby men will want to hold on to the fact that I paid for your buy price, and they want to make that particular point to be very subjective, and they tie it to a lot of things, and it now gives them this sense of control, like you actually bought off a commodity from the market and you can do with it whatever you want. So I think this is enough. What I want to do is find that culture and tradition and things evolve, and I want to compare it to senior clients. At the same time, because that particular incident is something about our culture that brings family together, and at on the other side, you look at it like it's an event that shows the family of the groom showing some form of respect to the bride as a way that we cherish your daughter, we value her. In fact, because of this respect we have for your family, we have bring this as a token of appreciation to show you how much your daughter is valuable to us, and we want you to accept this. So probably, maybe there can be a middle ground here. Maybe there can be a middle ground whereby the monetary aspect will not be involved. Probably the culture can just be, it can evolve, and we can strike a balance, just say like 2 bars of yam, something that that logically anybody can just buy by the roadside, understand? Or maybe 2 bars of yam, just maybe an oil or something. Maybe not in the volume the way it is being said, like we have nowadays, that there has to be 1 trailer of yam or not. So if it's just to keep the tradition going, and we can strike a balance whereby we just say, let's just do it for the significance, but not that whatever we are bringing will now hold a whole lot of monetary value, and there's now a part whereby you have to pay cash. So that's how it sounds. So and the reason why I'm saying that is because if you want to say we want to keep the culture going, and at the same time we're trying to say that we don't want you to see this woman and objectify her as a commodity that you are buying off from somewhere. Then we can be able to reach a middle ground whereby culture can now be evolved. People can now approach this matter better and just say, just 2 subas of yam and just a snap drinks and maybe 1 crate of beer, that's all. So probably, you're just bringing it for the significance of what it stands for in culture, but not necessarily because you have to show strength in whatever you are bringing. You want to appreciate fine, but just bring something for the significance of the tradition. And that's where I feel there could be a middle ground. But in the times of, if people are still relying on this as a way to now say you want to, like, I paid for your bride price, I did this one. Because even nowadays, I know a lot of marriage that are broken down, and the family of the bride, they never returned any bride price. It got to a point whereby there's a bit of issues that actually continue, and it was consistent, and they had to go their separate ways. No bride price was returned because in the tradition, as he said, if it's not going to work, then you have to return the bride price. So I just think I know things can change if the way we live is changing, and this particular aspect in marriage can also evolve in the nearest future, because even now it's evolving, and at the same time there are still a lot of couples whereby they never actually went for tradition. Some of them just did the introduction, and before you know, they start as living love and they started having kids. But at the same time, they still know that, understanding that one day, in order for respect for your family, your wife's family, you have to do it. You still have to do it. So I just know that there are a lot of ways who are now approaching marriage of a thing. Some people now, even till now, they are still living like a living lovers. Have kids already, but they've just done some introduction. They know each other's family, but they've not necessarily done that traditional rites or going to the courts to legally marry. So that is one thing I actually see in that part. But it being a trap, well, I think for we the men, there's a little bit of self-reflection that's coming to this. Probably we are the one that need that education, that we don't necessarily need to look at it like you are not buying anybody. If you want to understand the significance of the tradition, just you are doing it as a sign of respect to the bride's family. You are not buying anybody. You don't hold anybody. You are married a full-grown human being that you show respect to, and you come into the marriage with respect, and you want to accord that thing to her at all times. So you don't necessarily going to see her like that. But for those abusing it, then that makes a case for people that want to say, hey, we can scrap this. We can scrap this. So I know there's a whole lot of things in marriage. Even nowadays, for the people that are also making a case for women going into marriage, they never had kids for the man. But at the end of the time, when they are getting divorced, they are meant to go away with property. So at the same time, I think the discussion of marriage is evolving, and a lot of people are coming into this particular issue, and they are looking for solution. Ahead of a country where they said now, I don't know if this is true, where they said if you are probably going to get a divorce from your husband and you don't have kids together, that you are not going to take a property away. So I know at the same time, so if you look at how this thing works, and we can always see that even in the legal system, people are taking advantage, and that's the honest truth. People are taking advantage of people, and even in the traditional system, people are also taking advantage of that traditional system as well. Well, at the end of the day, we have to reach a middle point. The other side shifts ground, this side shifts ground, because at the end of the day, because our tradition, our culture, this is how we do it. You don't want to let go of it. You understand? That's what I just see. Like, as time goes on, I believe there will be a shifting of ground on both ends, and the way they do it, it will go away from the significance of that thing. Like, it is, you are not going to objectify this woman as a commodity. It's just for you to see it as tradition, not necessarily because you are now the moment you pay that money, they are giving you to you fully. No, they are not giving you fully to go to now treat it anyhow. So that's just what I see in this particular situation. But at the same time, I believe there will be a middle ground for this particular topic. There will be a middle ground, so that women, I think the address has to come to us with, like, we shouldn't objectify women as a commodity you are buying off the market in the first place. So I know a whole lot about this topic. It tends to addressing men in the way we see this particular situation. I think it boils more on us, like how do we see it, and that is where that particular education comes in, and how we can address the situation.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you. You were actually right on time.
In a world shaped by events and happenings, how do we keep up with the trends? How do we get a hang of facts and vices playing out around us? Join Off the Cuff with Jimmy, where unscripted, uncensored, and unforgettable controversial family and social topics are discussed by different people across the globe. Topics ranging from depression, abuse, homosexuality, marriage, sex, anxiety, drugs, suicide, mental illness, bigotry, near-death experiences, parenting, PTSD, racism, culture, rape, peer pressure, abortion, and many more. Listen in on Fridays, 10 a.m. Central Time Zone via YouTube at Off the Cuff with Jimmy, TikTok at Off the Cuff with Jimmy, and X Off the Cuff Jimmy. Join us to explore today and tomorrow while shedding some outdated views from yesterday. If you want your story to be heard, contact us via WhatsApp +1773 461 7622 or X handle at Off the Cuff Jimmy. Just in my mind, Yans Jimmy.
All right. Welcome back, guys. Thanks for being part of the Cuff with Jimmy. I'm just trying to sign out for on the live stream so we can move on. So as this conversation comes to an end on the live stream, one thing is clear. Culture fits identity. Certain, there's no doubt about that. And no one fits culture the way OBG foods, which are the sponsor of my live stream Off the Cuff with Jimmy. They do it from the kitchen to the city reception to stay rooted, well connected, and stay delicious. Thank you so much, OBG Foods. And we've come to the end of today's edition of Off the Cuff with Jimmy. The topic: bride price. Is it traditional, transactional, or is it a trap? And this will be my view based on all the submissions I've heard from different people. This will be my personal view and final monologue about this particular topic. Yeah, it's not as easy as people think it is. It's a delicate dance between tradition and progress. The practice itself, I mean, bride price, stands as a reflection. No.
Jimmy, sorry, I went to okay, go on.
Yeah, so stands as a reflection of how complex this particular topic is. It has a lot to do with our cultural heritage and societal norms, things we've come to accept as our ways of life. And at the same time, we have these evolving perspectives on love and quality, um, togetherness, which I call equality. On the other hand, it carries the weight of history in a way that symbolizes respect, commitment, and a tangible acknowledgement of women's value. There is no doubt about that. Okay. Um, and on another hand, it can easily become a transaction, and that also is true, and it's a fact. It can be a transaction that will be reduced to an exchange of goods that undermines the true essence of partnership. How do we now reduce a life's worth to a price tag, to a true woman's worth? How do we balance it to a price tag? In as much as we want to respect that she was looked after, brought up by well-to-do family, and brought up in a well-raised community, home, best of education and everything. it's complex and it is a tricky situation that needs more engagement than what we're just having on social media platforms. For some, it remains a cherished tradition and they're not going to let go of it. It's a bridge between the past and the present to a lot of people. It's enduring ways of honoring one's family, one's heritage, communities, even though we don't know how it started or why it was started. But we want to uphold it. We want it to keep going. And we're not trying to evolve within it. We want to keep that tradition. We want to keep it. We want to make sure it is the same way our forefathers used to do it. We don't want to try anything new. We don't want to experiment. We don't want to check out if something else is going to work. We don't want to add to it. We don't want to take out of it. And that is where I think we should allow the change as human beings. I mean, this is 2025. It is crazy. For some people, it's remained a tradition that they don't want to do away with. They're holding it closely to their chest. And sometimes it can feel like a trap barrier that commodifies love. You know, you're giving your daughter's hand in marriage out to someone, and in exchange, you're having something in return. Some people consider it trade by barter. You know, it might not even be monetary. It could be, I'll give you a bottle of champagne or a bottle of Shinap, and you can have my daughter. That is transactional. Doesn't involve cash, but it's a form of trade by barter, which is another way of paying for commodities before we start using cash. The conversation about bride price is not just about the practice, but it's about the value we choose to uphold as we move forward together as human beings. We need to know where to draw the line when it comes to monetary value and the way we perceive women. We spoke about it sometimes last week on how we've been brought up in a manner at which we're made to believe women have their roles in the kitchen. We're made to believe men's role is just to go and do the hard job, provide, and do the manly thing. And I emphasized on how that has been embedded in our culture, in our tradition, in our DNAs. And I used examples of the movies we watched back in the days, even up to the kind of adverts we had back in the days. Almost. The kids are playing football. The girls are probably doing 10 or in the kitchen with mommy. And when they play football, they get their clothes dirty. Mommy is the one that will go to market to buy Omo and wash the clothes. That way, they try to let you know Omo is the best kind of detergent you can use to clean your kids' clothes. But daddy didn't do that. It was mommy. It's always mommy. Mommy is the one that will go to market to select the best kind of Royco Maggi or no chicken. Mommy is the one that will cook. Daddy will be in the office looking forward, not concentrating on the meeting, looking forward, thinking about what mommy is going to cook when he gets home. And when he gets home, with his business suitcase, the food is already on the dining table for him. These are the mindsets we've been brought up with in our movies, in our music videos, in the adverts we saw growing up. Is it Gala advert? Is it Omo? Is it Tamoku? Name it. But as we grow older, we learn. As we mix with other culture, we evolve, we learn and unlearn. The point is, how are we going to make use of what we've learned for the betterment of who we are in our cultures, in our community, within our tradition? Because at a point in time, we will be the custodian of the culture and tradition. At a point in time, the people we call our fathers, uncle, they're all gonna die, and we will be left to do the needful? Are we going to pick it up from where they stop? Are we going to emphasize that we'll keep doing what they do because it's been done all along? Their forefathers do it. In fact, in some Yoruba instances, they'll tell you, kò bàjẹ́ lórí bàbá tó bí bàbá mi, kò bàjẹ́ lórí bàbá mi, kò ní bàjẹ́ lórí mi. Meaning it didn't spoil during my grandfather's time. It didn't spoil during my father's time. It will never spoil during my own time. Meaning I'll do it accordingly to the way they did it, so it won't spoil in my own time. There was a particular time twins were killed. Was it a cultural thing? Was it a traditional thing back then? They believed it to some extent. Yeah, they did, but they evolved out of that. There was a time, some of the traditions, I think they still practice it, where if you're not a virgin, you're not acceptable. And they take it so seriously that they expect the husband to come out with a white cloth and just show people that, hey, she's a virgin. Oh, I don't think they still do that. In fact, if they do, they are deceiving themselves, because Zobo Yapa, Zobo. They will pause. You want white clothes with red stain, Abi? Zobo one be, kilo one be, Ribena one le. The point is this: how long are we going to keep doing this, sticking to the whole conventional way of doing things? I've heard a lot of people speak about the impact this thing has actually made. You hear husbands saying to their wives, I paid your bride price. Whatever I tell you, you do. It's more like it gives them the ownership right. It's like buying a land with the C of O. You have everything in your hand. So therefore, I can do as I wish. We shouldn't endorse that. We shouldn't be behind something like that. In the end, it's not about the exchange, but what is shared in the journey of two people that really do love themselves, and they're willing and ready to stick it out together, die together, give birth together, have a family together. We can say whatever it is we want to say about them. We can do whatever it is we want to do in standing in their ways. But the fact that before they achieve that goal, one of them needs to pay certain amount of money. I think that is unfair. Again, we've been able to differentiate between a bride price and marriage rights. I see no problem in marriage rights. It's a cultural thing, it's a traditional thing, it's a way of praying. They do that too when you give birth. They do what's it called? Child rights. I've forgotten the name they call it I've forgotten the English terminology, but yeah, they have a child rights, and there are the certain things that they use in praying for the kids. Almost the materials are almost identical to that of marriage as well. But these things are actually important. They're important. But the question is, what happens in a situation whereby you don't have access to most of those things? The kind of things they did when I was giving birth to, I didn't do any of those with my kids. I did it. Does that mean they're gonna grow better than me, or not up to what I became? Absolutely not. It's always lovely to have people from different walks of life, from different background, different ways of thinking, and different perspective to join me on my platform to have this conversation. Thank you so much, guys, for today's episode on Off the Cuff with Jimmy. We'll be ending it here today, and we'll focus on the Twitter people so we can carry on with that conversation. Thank you so much. I'm not certain about the topic for next week, but hopefully when before the end of today's space with the Twitter people, we'll probably come up with one we can deal with next week. But I've been thinking about it. deeply, and it's almost more like an African thing. Parents, they spend so much money on their kids, and it's almost as if they invest in them and they expect their kids to look after them at their old age. It's a huge issue. It's a big problem. We'll see how that goes, if that's going to be the next topic I talk about, because some parents actually do feel entitled. Is it entitlement or their right? We'll see how the space goes with the Twitter people. That might be my next topic for next week. But till then, thank you so much, guys, for being part of today's Off the Cuff with Jimmy. We'll call it a wrap for the live stream, and we'll focus on